still holding it.
Oh, no, don't like my dish. It'll work.
Okay, good evening, councillors, officers and community members here this evening. Welcome members of the public who are live streaming tonight's meeting as well. My name is Councillor Christine O'Laris, OAM. I am the Mayor of Darebin City Council and the chairperson of tonight's meeting. Someone got a noise that's... It's my pleasure to welcome you all to tonight's meeting, and I declare this meeting open at 6:01 p.m. The meeting is being live streamed. A recording will be made available on Darebin's website as soon as possible after the meeting. And any discussion, I don't think we've got any tonight, but any discussion relating to confidential information under Section 3.1 of the Local Government Act 2020 will require Council to move into camera pursuant to Section 66(2). I would like to start by acknowledging the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people, who are the traditional owners of the land on which Darebin stands. I recognise their continuing connection to land, to waters and culture, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. I also want to acknowledge that today is National Sorry Day. Particularly today, we acknowledge the strength of stolen generations and stolen generation survivors and reflect on the deep and ongoing impact of past government policies on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So, you know, as a gesture of respect and remembrance, the Australia flag, the Aboriginal flag and the Torres Strait Islander flag were today flown at half-mast at all Darebin City Council venues, and the Darebin Arts Centre and Darebin Town Hall will be lit in the colour purple, representing the native hibiscus, the official flower of the stolen generations. Okay, so I want to welcome and acknowledge all the councillors. We've got members of staff, particularly executive leadership team. We've got one of our municipal monitors here this evening also joining us. There are no apologies to this meeting. However, as we have an even number in attendance, as the chair, I may have to, from time to time, use a casting vote. So I just want to be clear up front that if that happens, my casting vote will be the same as the deliberative vote that I had earlier in that particular circumstance. So we'll just need to, at this point, identify any conflicts of interest that people might hold. So if a councillor or a staff member has a conflict of interest in relation to a matter on the agenda tonight, they need to disclose it now and the nature of that conflict of interest, but we'll also get you to disclose that at the time that that matter's being discussed as well. So there's the two times you need to raise it. And further to that, if there's anything that comes up in the agenda throughout the meeting that you hadn't thought about and you suddenly realise is a conflict, you need to let me know. So, councillors and officers, are there any conflicts of interest to declare this evening? Okay, can we just get a brief idea of the nature of those? Councillor Salkos.
Thank you, Mayor. Mine is a general conflict of interest for item 9.9.
Councillor Arturi.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a general conflict of interest in relation to specific properties listed in item 9.9.
And Councillor Boglis.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, general conflict for item 9.9 as well.
Okay. All right. So, oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a general conflict for items 9.7 and also 9.9.
Okay, thank you. I think we've got those under control. Okay, thank you. All right, we might just confirm the minutes of the previous meeting. So, councillors, could I please have a mover for the adoption of the minutes of the ordinary meeting council meeting held on 28th of April 2025 and the special council meeting held on the 12th of May 2025, that they be confirmed as a correct record of business transacted. And I did see Councillor Jelly moving that and Councillor Solkos seconding that. I'm going to put that straight to the vote. So can all those in favour please raise your hand? And that's carried unanimously. So thank you. I did want to talk just for a little moment about Council's occupational health and safety responsibilities. Council does have a responsibility to ensure everyone attending tonight's meeting feels safe both physically and emotionally. It's great to see a pretty full room here tonight, and I believe we've got a few people in the next room possibly as well. So I'd like to remind everyone in attendance to be respectful of one another. As outlined in our governance rules, please note the following. So first up, that silence must be preserved in the gallery at all times during a meeting, except when you have been asked to address the meeting. A councillor or any other person who addresses a meeting must do so in a courteous and respectful manner, and must take direction from myself as the chairperson whenever called upon to do so. Anyone attending the meeting also, please don't use any offensive language or say anything that might be considered sexist or homophobic, or interject while others are speaking. And if anyone engages in conduct that is improper or disorderly, I might have the ability to ask you to cease that conduct, and you really do have to comply with that direction. So hopefully that's all pretty straightforward. Before we go any further, I would just like to pause for a moment to also express our sympathy and solidarity following the frightening incident at Northland Shopping Centre yesterday. So I'm sure you're all aware of what I'm talking about. It was an incredibly distressing situation for many, especially for Northland staff and shoppers. So our thoughts are with everyone impacted, and we welcome the Victorian Government's timely announcement this morning that they are banning the sale of machetes across Victoria. So we are now up to public question time. So we have 30 minutes for public question time. If we think we will need more time than that, and I'm kind of betting tonight that we will, we've got a lot of questions, then I will ask for only one extension is allowed, so maximum of an hour all up. And at that point in time, I'll ask for someone to put forward a procedural motion to extend the meeting. If we get to the end of that 1 hour and questions have we haven't got through all the questions, unfortunately those questions we won't be able to hear this evening, but we will take them on notice, and there will be written responses provided to everyone who put forward a question. And the questions are accepted in order of how we receive them. So that's how the order plays out through the meeting. In line with Council's governance rules, no questions can be taken from people in the gallery unless they were submitted by 12 p.m. today and approved. You can ask 3 questions, no more. You cannot speak for more than 2 minutes, and we have a timer that will be up. And be very mindful that this is about asking questions, not making statements. And with so many people wanting to speak this evening, we really do encourage you to please, keep any preamble to a minimum, if at all. Just get stuck straight into your questions, please. Questions relating to notices of motion, petitions or urgent business will not be accepted in accordance with governance rules. For members of the public who have registered to ask a question in person, I will call your name when it's time. And if I call your name and you don't respond, we'll take it that you're not here. And one of the officers will instead read that question out on your behalf, and the relevant general manager will then provide a response. If you are in attendance, either in person or virtually, I'll invite you to come up to the lectern, unmute the microphone and state your name, and then ask your question. We do group together like questions, so the first person who submitted a question that's like a number of other ones will be the person that will get to ask their question. Okay, I think we're ready to go with that. So we're here. Okay. So first up, I have Floyd Cardoso. Floyd is not attending, so yeah.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Floyd has 3 questions. The first question, why has the rubbish and dumping been allowed to be kept at the site at 802 Plenty Road for so long, even though it is an obvious eyesore to the community? The second question is, what are the actions that have been taken so far by the council, along with timestamps? And the third question, what are the actions planned by property owners for the clean-up, and when will this be actioned?
Thank you, Georgie. And is it Vanessa who's going to answer this one? Thank you.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thank you for your questions, Floyd. Council officers attended the site on the 29th of January this year. The site is an active construction site and was not considered unsightly. A council officer again attended the site on the 9th of April to ensure it remained compliant with the local law. The rubbish in piles was contained to the site and generally protected from view from both Plenty Road and Albert Street. After the April site visit, council officers assessed the site as being compliant and not being unsightly, and so no further action is to be taken.
Thank you. The next question is from Andrew Langon, who is also not attending. So over to you again, Georgie.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. The first question is, what is council doing about the increase in rubbish dumping on nature strips on local Kingsbury streets? There seems to be no accountability on the offenders. The second question is, some time ago I made a proposal to change the name of Link Park in Kingsbury to Bruce Steele Memorial Park. I had a few emails back and forth from a council representative, but unfortunately it has gone quiet, and I have attempted to email that person and have had no reply.
Rachel, thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Andrew, for your questions and for taking the time last week to discuss this with one of our team. Our litter prevention officers work across the city to address illegal dumping. They do work with state government agencies when needed, and they proactively monitor hotspots. We rely on the community to report particular incidents and locations, and so certainly appreciate your efforts in doing that in terms of the Kingsbury area. In regards to the naming of Link Park, I understand you've arranged to send previous correspondence to our staff, and they'll follow that up. At this stage, council doesn't have plans to rename the park.
Okay, Alita Kilner. Thanks, Alita. I'm not sure if your microphone's on. Just press the button.
Is it on now?
Is it gone green?
Yeah, it's green. Great. Hi, my name's Alita and I live in Ambon Street, Preston. My questions pertain to the East Preston Community Centre. The following groups: Garden Club, Seed Bank, Free Seeds, Food Bank, Greek Club, Exercise Group called Women Only, Health Checks and Referrals, Computer and Phone Club Assistance with Technology, Craft Group for Diverse People, Legal Services, Heidelberg and Fitzroy Legal, DFFH, Housing Representatives, Op Shop, Children's Playgroup, Lunch and Food Education for Somali Women, Social Worker for Referrals, Neighbourhood Watch, Community Lunches, Guest Speakers and a central meeting place for 4 community groups have all been impaired by the closure of EPCC. Has Council consulted with DFFH and referred the public housing tenant to the complex client needs team? Second question, has Council taken police and legal action and intervention order as consequences from the breaches of your instructions have occurred and addressed the public nuisance charges and the public tenant has a long history of incidents so that staff can be safe? Can Council provide a security officer to staff while rehousing of the tenant is established other than just Wednesdays? Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think we have a little bit of good news in relation to this one. So thank you, Nina.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you. Thank you very much, Alita, for your question. I would like to respond. Beg my pardon, everyone. Don't need those. In relation to your first question, and this is relevant to all questions, the closure of EPCC, the East Preston Community Centre, was essential to ensure the health and safety of our staff, also partner organisations and the local community. But I'm very pleased to be able to advise you and everyone that the centre has formally reopened as of Wednesday, the 15th of May. Throughout the closure, council officers worked in collaboration with Victoria Police, the Department of Family Fairness and Housing, and partner agencies to guide the additional safety measures that were required to allow the reopening. Council officers also worked closely with all user groups to ensure continued service and program delivery wherever possible, including using alternative sites for a period of time. Council recognises the importance of ensuring that community remains socially connected and well supported, and the central role of the East Preston Community Centre. In relation to your second question, the centre was temporarily closed for safety reasons. Council is pleased that it has been able to reopen, and it has definitely put in place appropriate additional security and safety measures for all of the people involved, having consulted with all the relevant organisations as you have listed. In relation to question 3, is very similar to the response to question 2, and again, we're very pleased to be able to share that the centre has reopened and will continue to stay open. Thank you.
Okay, we have someone online, is Hay, who hopefully will be joining us.
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Great. Do you want to read out your question?
Yeah, I just want to give a content warning that my question will briefly discuss, without going into any detail, a recent suicide that happened in Darebin. So I want to acknowledge that is a sensitive topic and encourage people to take care of themselves upon hearing it, and I guess the response as well. My first question is, what can Council commit to doing to support Darebin community members in the aftermath of this recent suicide at an important reservoir community location, as well as in view of working to prevent future suicides in our community, especially at our train stations? And then my second question is, how can Darebin Council build on and work with existing non-clinical peer-led suicide prevention services to ensure that the Darebin community knows about and feels comfortable accessing them? Thank you.
Thank you, Iz, for that. Well, those very important questions. I'm going to call on Nina again.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. Thank you, Iz, for your question. Any sudden death is a very tragic event, so thank you for raising this here. In relation to your first question, at Council, through our Emergency Management and Community Recovery Program, we facilitate support to communities impacted by suicide. This may include facilitating personal support and providing referrals, or it might include coordinating services through community groups that specialise in providing support. In relation to question 2, thank you again for this question. You may have had the opportunity to look at the draft Darebin Council plan that is currently open for public comment, and the importance that Council gives to mental health and wellbeing in the community. You may wish to provide a submission to this plan. I have also asked that a manager contact you to discuss your questions further.
Thank you. Okay, next question is Tom Hannon, who's not attending. So if we could have that question read out, please.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Tom's first question is, this month's report by Club Links shows a focus on diversity and inclusion across council-owned facilities. To track progress in these areas, could Council please advise of the percentage of total participation by people who identify as male, female, non-binary or other gender identities over the period of the last report at Northcote Golf Course and Bundoora Golf Course?
Thank you, Nina.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. Thank you, Tom, for the question. Female participation at Bundoora Park Public Golf Course was 8% and Northcote Public Golf Course was 4% of the total rounds played. Systems used to collect golf booking information only provide male and female gender options. Officers in Council will advocate to Golf Australia and other relevant stakeholders requesting broader gender categories for golfers to choose, should they wish. As outlined in the report, Northcote Public Golf Course hosts the monthly Melbourne Social Rainbow Golfers.
Second question? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Tom's second question is, could Council please provide an update on progress towards these initiatives and towards the Climate Emergency Plan target of engaging 1,000 Darebin households per year to support electrification and renewable energy?
Vanessa, maybe answer this one, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the question. Council has engaged with more than 1,000 households over the past year around renewable energy and electrification through a range of direct interventions and engagement mechanisms. The Food Resilience Scoping Study is in train, with a desktop review having been conducted and a stakeholder workshop scheduled for early June. The report is expected to be completed in June.
Okay, next question is Sean Nettleton, who is not attending.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Sean's first question is, on Anzac Day 2025, Darebin posted on multiple social media pages an image that said, and I quote, "Darebin celebrates Anzac Day." Is Darebin celebrating war, the Anzac defeat, the 130,000 total deaths from the Gallipoli campaign, the 60,000 Australians dead in World War I, or something else? Sean's second question is, did Darebin consult with any veteran groups prior to celebrating rather than commemorating Anzac Day? And the third question, does Darebin celebrate any other days associated with war or large-scale death and suffering other than Anzac Day?
Carolyn, thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. I want to start by thank you for your question, but also, I guess, saying that we take very seriously the way that our communications are received. I also want to acknowledge that any war-related content might be difficult for some members of the community attending the meeting in person or online tonight. So to your first question, Darebin Celebrates is a campaign that underpins many of our significant days throughout the year. Darebin's intention behind the phrase was to honor and commemorate the sacrifices made by the Anzacs and all those who served in conflicts. It was intended as an acknowledgement of the Anzac spirits and values, bravery, camaraderie, resilience, rather than the conflict themselves. To your second question, Council did not consult with any veteran groups on this occasion. And to your third question, Darebin acknowledges that several significant days related to military we acknowledge several significant days related to military history and remembrance each year, including Remembrance Day. I want to end by, again, thank you and acknowledge that the word celebrate in this context might have been received negatively. We apologize for the offense that it might have caused, and we will ensure clear language is used in future communications.
Okay, we've got Matthew Zammit, who's attending in person. Is Matthew here? No, perhaps we'll read out Matthew's question.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. Matthew's first question is, in 2001, the Brax government introduced model litigant guidelines enshrining existing common law responsibilities. These set standards for how all government bodies in Victoria should behave as a party to legal proceedings. Does Darebin Council consider itself subject to such model litigant guidelines, and if not, why not? If so, how so? Matthew's second question is, does Darebin Council consider the act of chairing an ordinary council meeting by an elected mayor to be the performance of a duty or a function as described within Section 43A of the Local Government Act 2020? And the third question is, in respect of Darebin Council issuing contact plans under its complaint handling policy, please describe what relevant training had been completed by council officers responsible for issuing contact plans prior to any issuing of contact plans. In particular, list any such training which related to persons living with a disability or other attributes listed within Section 6 of the Equal Opportunity Act 2010, Victoria.
Thanks, Georgie and Carolyn. Thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. So to the first question, as a government entity, the City of Darebin strives to comply with the model litigant guidelines when involved in a court proceeding. To the second question, Council is required to comply with the Local Government Act, and so to the extent that the Section 43A applies in the context of the Act as a whole, the answer to your question is yes. In regards to question 3, so all customer-facing staff are trained on customer experience, complaint handling and de-escalation. We also perform an inclusion impact assessment on all our policies and provide ongoing training and education around inclusion and equity.
Okay, we have Leon Zambakis attending in person. Is Leon here? No? Okay. Georgie, get to read again.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Leon's first question is, could Council budget the naming of a pocket park in Councillor Gaetano Greco's honour and commission our local foundry to create a brass statue of this socialist beret-wearing migrant story legend adorning the park? Question 2, as Councillor Gaetano Greco was a big reader, could Reservoir Library have a wing dedicated to Councillor Greco with his flavour of books in the shelves?
Thank you. We've got Nina answering that one.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Thank you, Leon, for the questions. The idea that you put forward would be a decision for Council to make. One opportunity you could consider is to make a submission through the current open budget process. Similarly, for question number 2, I refer to the earlier response. This would be a decision for Council, and an opportunity you could consider is to make a submission through the current budget process.
Okay. Trish Corelli. Work, Trish, here? Thanks, Trish. So we'll just make sure the microphone's on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor and councillors. The Furlan Club has been a deep and historic association with Cavaliere Antonio Matisi AM, a trailblazer in multicultural civic leadership in 1962. Mr Matisi became the first Italian-born councillor in the city of Northcote, a milestone acknowledged in Andrew Lemon's 1983 publication. The Northcote site of the river, he went on to serve as mayor in 1969, 1974 and 1979, a role in which he consistently championed.
Can you jump to your questions, please?
Oh, I put in a submission just to...
We've got 2 questions here? Did you haven't got 2 questions?
I didn't put 2 questions in.
Okay.
Definitely not.
The submissions come right before that item when we're
that's okay.
discussing it.
That's right.
So I think, did you submit some questions for the last meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want us to read those out for you or something, those questions, or you can still do your submission?
Yeah, I can
bit
do the
later?
submission later. Do you want me to do that?
All
Yeah,
right.
that's
No
fine.
worries. Thank you. Okay, these other ones might be the same. They might be last meeting's questions. We've got Gemma Tovey. Oh, not attending. Over to Georgie.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Gemma Tovey's first question is in relation to 2 Wingrove Street. In March 2025, Council resolved to be briefed on the creation of a community reference group with respect to the future of 2 Wingrove Street, Alphington. The intention then and now is that a community reference group could be considered as an alternate or complement to a broader community engagement. Sorry. Will Council delay making a decision on agenda item 9.2 until detail on community reference group has been provided?
Rachel.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Gemma, for the question. We understand your question to be feedback for the councillors. Council will consider a decision on the community engagement plan matter tonight, and there'll be a record of that if you're not watching online, that you can see the outcome of that. Thank you.
Do we have Chris Erlinson here? No. Georgie?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Chris's first question is, in the Activity Centre's SAC referral report, Preston, the panel recommends that the Preston Market Precinct should be included in consideration together with the Activity Centre. What is Council's position on this issue in relation to providing the best urban design outcomes? Question 2, at 1.4 in the same Activity Centre's SAC report, Preston, paragraph 3 states, the targeted consultation in relation to the High Street Activity Centre resulted in 1 to 113 submissions, but only 1,113 submissions, but only 3 submissions were referred to the committee, including 2 from Council. Their report continues at point 8. The committee did not have the benefit of a public hearing or any discussions or evidence in support or contradictory that may have assisted it to better understand the strategic basis of the AC plan or the background documents which informed the selection of Preston as one of the 10 pilot ACs, nor did they discuss any aspect of the AC plan. Can Council offer an explanation for their apparent lack of cooperation?
Okay. Over to Vanessa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the questions, Chris. Council advocated to the state government that planning controls should provide a considered interface between the commercial core and newly adopted Preston Market Precinct. Council understands its 2 written submissions were referred to the committee, but a hearing was not held. Council did not have a chance to present to the advisory committee. The submissions are available on Council's website. Council advocated for an inclusive and transparent engagement process, including an independent panel to consider all submissions and draft planning controls.
Thank you. We've got Julie Williams. Thanks, Julie.
Hello everyone. Can Council confirm its commitment to undertake the feasibility study for the public acquisition of the market, and will the study explore full public acquisition with all stakeholders and community be involved as promised by elected councillors during election period?
And second question, do you want to perhaps do that one as well.
Can the council please outline its legal position, process, protocol and timeframe for electing a new representative for a ward? As these questions will go back from last month. Third question. Councillor Greco made a significant contribution to the Darebin community and was serving as a councillor at the time of his passing. Will council hold a commemorative gathering with the support of Councillor Greco's family to honour his legacy and service to the community? If so, the Darebin Arts Centre would be a fitting and respectful venue.
Thank you. I think we've got Caroline answering this one. No? Vanessa, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your questions. Julie, I'll respond to your first one. On the 12th of May, Council endorsed the draft 2025-26 budget documentation for community consultation, and the draft budget includes an allocation of $30,000 to fund a Preston Market feasibility study.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. For your second question about the by-election, so the process for a by-election is owned by the Victorian Electoral Commission. Council is working in partnership with the VEC, which has called the Northwest Ward by-election on the 2nd of August. With regards to your second question, a condolence book is available for the community to sign in the foyer of our Preston Community Customer Service Centre. Council is currently liaising with Councillor Greco's family regarding a possible future gathering. Thank you.
Angela Denton is not attending. Oh, sorry. Before we continue on, can I get a procedural motion to extend, thank you, Councillor Turi, for another 30 minutes, yeah? And second to Julie, all in favour? Thank you, carried unanimously. So Angela Denton's not attending, but we'll get her question read out. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Angela's first question is, Darebin has a world-class aquatic centre, the running of which is outsourced. On 19 and 20th of May 2025, following a cold spell, the hydrotherapy and other pools have not been heated to industry standard, therefore inconveniencing members, patrons, and especially the elderly and disabled who rely on hydrotherapy as a part of their health plan. During this time, the swimming pool lessons were rescheduled to the hydro pool, further inconveniencing users.
Yeah, thank you, Nina.
And
Sorry.
More.
Sorry.
Sorry.
The first question is, why didn't Council include a requirement for those running the centre to notify members when there is an unforeseen system failure? The second question, why was there a penalty built into the contract, and if not, why not? And the third question, why aren't the centre management required to provide a refund to those patrons who paid to use the facility but found it too cold to be of therapeutic use?
Thank you, Nina.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Angela, for the questions. Unfortunately, there was a fault with the pool heating system, which was out of the operator's control. This fault required some changes to the programming of the pools. The contract with the aquatic centre operator requires certain levels of service. There are no specific requirements relating to unforeseen system failures. Council expects the operator to communicate with its members and customers in a timely way. On this occasion, it was assumed the issue would be fixed quickly, and due to this assumption, the operator was slower to communicate impacts. The operator has assured Council this will not happen again. Penalties are definitely built into the contract for specific circumstances. If an operator is found at fault, it is normal practice to issue a warning first and then escalate should there be repeated issues. At all times at the aquatic centre, the operator displays the pool temperatures on a communications board at the entry to the facility. This ensures members and customers can see the pool temperatures and make a personal decision as to whether the water temperatures are appropriate for them to use.
Thank you. Was it this one? Yep. Kim Miller. Is Kim here? Ah. Thanks, Kim. Just press the button.
Thank you. My first question is, in financial year 24 and 25 to date, how many letters of offer were made and sales finalised for right-of-way lots in Darebin? The second question is, across Darebin Council in FY 24 and 25 to date, what was the mean, median, min and max ratio of the site value to the sale price for a right-of-way as listed in the letter of offer? And in Reservoir, in FY 24 and 25 to date, what was the mean, median, min and max ratio of the site value to the sale price for the right-of-way as listed in a letter of offer?
Thank you. Rachel?
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Kim. So in regards to your first question, which is about the number of letters of offer made and the sales finalised, in 2023-24, there were 4 letters of offer issued for right-of-way transactions. And in the current financial year, 24-25, there have been 5 issued so far, and a total of 2 of those have been finalised. In regards to questions 2 and 3, we'll need to take that on notice because we don't have the data immediately available. I'll ask the Manager of Buildings, Property and Capital to reach out to you tomorrow to follow up. Thanks.
Thanks, Kim. Julie Moore is the next person who Julie's not attending.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Julie's first question is, I note that a private company is going to build a retirement village, corner of Bell and High Street, which is a bit far north for some, with the exception of away from shops and public transport and several nursing homes. It is my belief that the local and state governments are giving little thought to the housing of older residents in Darebin. I would like the council to consider asking questions what they wish to do. Stay in their large family homes or buy into a retirement village in their area and age in place. You will be aware that Burundara has been able to attract many investors and build some beautiful places.
Vanessa, could you answer that one? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Julie, for your question. I can confirm that a retirement village is currently under construction at the corner of Bell and High Street. More broadly, the development of private land by private developers for the purposes of aged care facilities, it's a market-driven process. While the Darebin planning scheme sets out requirements in particular areas of the municipality for the use and development of aged care facilities where proposed by developers, Council is unable to direct the construction of these facilities by landowners.
Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Julie's second question is, when do you intend restoring the seating for the gallery during council meetings? The seating at the moment is grossly inadequate.
Thank you, Julie, for the question. At the moment, Council doesn't have any plans to make changes to the seating in the gallery. We very much encourage you to reach out to one of our staff if you have a particular request or idea, and we would consider that under that process. Thank you.
Josh Pissarro, also not attending.
Through you, Mayor, Josh's first question is, in light of the Northland Shopping Centre rival gang brawl involving machetes on Sunday, will Darebin City Council lobby the Allen government to introduce stricter bail laws and fast-track its September 1 machete ban?
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you for your questions, Josh. Lena Messina has asked a similar question, and I will respond to both of them here. We recognise that yesterday's attack at Northland will be deeply concerning for our community, as it is for Council, and the attack is a current matter for the police. This morning, the Premier announced it will use powers under Commonwealth law to introduce an interim ban on the sale of machetes, and this ban will start on Wednesday, the 28th of May. The state government will also introduce a permanent ban on machete sales that will start on the 1st of September.
Lena Messina. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, CEO, officers, councillors and members of the gallery. Before I ask my question, I'd like some clarity, please, through you, Mayor. The extended period of time began 4 minutes after the first session. I just want some assurity that our questions will be documented in the minutes of meetings moving forward when they're printed, please, given that governance was breached.
Yes, they'll be documented.
Thank you. My first question is, what is the current update on the Preston market, and when can the community expect the council, the state government and SALTA to finally come together and provide a clear, committed plan for its future, given that the myth that compulsory acquisition will not occur?
Could you maybe do your second question as well?
Can I have my question answered after I ask the question, please, Mayor?
Sure, but it's just
Thank
the same
you.
person, so. Vanessa, thank you.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for the questions, Lena. The next step in the development process is for a development plan to be prepared by the developer for consideration by the state government. And in the draft council plan, which is currently on exhibition, council will continue to proactively protect Preston Market through advocacy and participating in future planning decisions.
Thank you. My second question, Mayor, is given that the build-to-rent development appetite from developers are exempt from open space levy, that the existing homes in the Preston Activity Centre will also be overshadowed by 3-4-storey buildings, and the residents' solar panels will be blocked from sunlight, undermining their purposes, how is this council going to address the lack of income based on the lack of open space levy, therefore reducing the actual amenity in terms of implementing open space over the period that is needed in that particular precinct?
Thanks, Lena. That's to you again, Vanessa.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. In recent planning reforms, the state government advised it would introduce an infrastructure contributions plan associated with new residential development. The details of this plan are unknown at this stage. However, we anticipate that it could allow for the collection of funds to contribute to open space and public realm improvements within the local area. Council has also lodged a planning scheme amendment C210 DARE for approval with the Planning Minister to enable higher open space contributions across the city.
That was could. Yep, thank you. My third question is, and I have altered it, given the escalating violence and public safety concerns...
Sorry, you haven't had a third question.
Yes, I do have
Lena.
a third question.
It was answered as a like question, so there were the two questions put into
I actually have amended that. I believe I have a right to alter it, given that the Allen government did put in that ban today.
The question hasn't been approved, so we haven't seen it. Yeah, so we generally need to approve.
It's very similar, but it's more about there is a part of that was not answered by Vanessa.
Just
and
go
that
ahead,
was,
Lena.
Thank you. What I'd like to know is, given the escalating violence and public safety concerns, when is this council going to address the push for mandatory emergency management plans to implement in civic spaces and high traffic areas such as shopping centres? And I'd like to know what action this council will do, given what undertook yesterday, which I was in the middle of.
So is there someone who can answer that question? Thanks,
Thank
Vanessa.
you, Man. Thank you, Lena. We'll need to take that question on notice and we'll return when we have a response for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Suzanne Newton on the screen. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors. So I have 3 questions tonight. My first question is, what is the gap between the current funding for the climate emergency plan in the draft budget and the amount needed to fully fund the plan? My second question is, what projects and budget are allocated specifically to active transport in the budget, and what amount does this add up to per resident? Noting that our neighbours in Marybeck have a commitment of $12 per resident. And my third question is, how will the draft council plan and budget meet the goals of the Darebin transport strategy to double walking and cycling by 2027? Is this goal on target? And if not, why not? Thank you.
So I think, where will we go? Thank you, Vanessa.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for the questions. For questions 1, 2 and 3, Council has a draft proposed budget and a council plan that's open for exhibition at the moment, and you can make submissions until the 3rd of June. The hearing of submissions will be held on the 16th of June. Capturing all submissions under that same process ensures all requests are tracked and considered in a transparent and equitable way.
Thank you. I think that's the same answer to all of your 3 questions. So,
Thank you, Mayor. That answers the questions.
okay. So Miranda Sharp, I believe, is attending virtually as well. Welcome, Miranda. Would you like to read your question?
Thank you very much. I have made a submission as well as have a question. So can I put the submission first before the question?
The submission generally comes right before the item that we're discussing.
Okay, it is sort of the context
Right.
of the question. That's why I ask.
Yep, okay, go ahead. Since you're online, we'll let you do that.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor and councillors, for the opportunity to put this. The submission refers to item 9.9 in tonight's meeting. So my submission is, I've been a resident in Alphington for over 30 years. I'm the founder and a current board member of the not-for-profit social enterprise Melbourne Farmers Markets, which established the Alphington Farmers Market and Alphington Community Food Hub at 2 Wingrove Street in 2017. Over this time, Melbourne Farmers Markets invested significantly into revitalising the formerly degraded site, building a thriving ecosystem of social enterprises, small businesses and charities, and welcoming more than 1,200 community members every Sunday to our market. The market is integral with the broader community of site tenants, and in 2019, I was honoured to be named Darebin Citizen of the Year for this contribution to local placemaking and community building. My commitment is unchanged, and I make my submission with sincerity and goodwill. In 2022, and in response to the well-publicised management and contamination issues at 2 Wingrove Street, a diverse coalition of residents, tenants, early learning centres, sustainability groups and local businesses formed what we call Alphington Commons. The group is representative of the Darebin community and was established with the sole intention of providing a constructive and inclusive path forward. The intention was to communicate to Council along with the request to meet with the Mayor and CEO. That meeting has never occurred. In 2023, reports relating to building condition and geotechnical reports were commissioned. These reports have never been tabled. Feasibility study, commissioned in 2024, noted in agenda item 9.4 of tonight's meeting, is due to be released in May, June, but yet to be made public, and presumably use the reports in its considerations. In item 9.4 of this council meeting, community engagement plan has been proposed for the site with the community's voice, one that council has deemed important. With these significant pieces of information or actions incomplete, we formally request that number 2 Wingrove Street be removed from the proposed expression of interest process under item 9.9 until the following steps are completed. 1, immediate engagement with community representatives, initiate the formal establishment of the community reference group as endorsed by Council in May 2025. 2, transparency of the background documents.
Okay, Miranda, I'm going to need to wind you up, I'm afraid. You're out of time, but if you can just quickly finish up.
My question is, given the constant reaffirmation of importance of the meaningful consultation regarding the site, could Council explain how initiating an expression of interest before consulting the community is consistent with its stated commitment to transparency, inclusion and genuine community engagement? The
Thank
rest of
you.
my submission, I suppose, will be considered later in the item.
Thank you. Rachel?
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Miranda, and hello, good evening. Certainly, we understand your question as being largely feedback for councillors to consider when they make their decision tonight. The sort of only piece of clarification that I may be helpful is that our assessment is that the process proposed tonight could be effective in terms of achieving community input, as could other processes. And I will leave it there. I'm sure you'll be watching the meeting and officers will be in touch to make sure that you've heard the outcome of Council's decision.
Thank you.
Thank you, but will I have the opportunity to submit the rest of my the submission that I requested before 12 midday today?
I'm afraid that's it, Miranda. So, yeah. You had the time allocation, so apologies. We've got a lot of people speaking tonight. Thank you. And we're definitely taking on board what you have heard what you've said. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on now to submissions. We've got a number of these permit members of the public to register to address an ordinary council meeting in relation to reports listed on the agenda. So thank you to those people who have registered their intention to do this. We have received a number of requests to make submissions and I'll call on those submitters to speak at the commencement of the relevant agenda items. So we also have a couple of petitions. So we will move on to those first. I will remind councillors that pursuant to governance rules, any councillor may present a petition to an ordinary meeting and must confine themselves to the statement of the person from whom it comes, the number of signatories to it, material matters expressed in it, and text of the petition. So I believe both of these are to be tabled by Councillor Dimitriadis. So Councillor Dimitriadis, would you now like to table the first petition?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I seek to table the petition titled Protect the Furlan Club Living Legacy of Italian-Australian History. Council must vote to be referred to the CEO for consideration and response. The petition has been signed by approximately 1,000 people online, of 10 people in hard copy, and complies with the Council's governance rules. The petition reads as follows. Let today be the day we are no longer treated as victims of a broken system, but rise as a beacon of resilience, a place where culture, connection and community live on. For 67 plus years, the Furlan Club has been a vibrant home for Italian-Australian and culture, bocce, sport, foods and community in Thornbury. Built by post-war migrants with their own hands, it is more than a venue, it's a living legacy. Now, this cherished place of history is under threat. Developers want to demolish the club and erase decades of cultural heritage to make way for private projects. But we, the community, say no. We are calling on Darebin Council to vote yes for heritage protection and support the immediate listing of the Furlan Club as a heritage overlay site. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dimitriadis. Do I have a seconder to the tabling of the petition? Councillor Arturi, thank you. I will now call on Patricia Corelli as the submitter of the petition to make a 2-minute submission. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you. Sorry. Could you hear me anyway? I'm a bit loud, Italian, you know. My name is Trish Corelli, and as President, I speak on behalf of the Furlan Club, an institution that has stood proudly in Thornbury since 1957, founded by post-war migrants from Friuli region of the northern Italy, nearly 68 years ago. I come before you tonight, not just as an individual, but backed by thousands of voices, each one a name on a petition calling for the protection and heritage listing of the Furlan Club. As of today, we note that 1,004 people have signed this petition, and that number grows every day. These aren't random names, they are members of Darebin. They are first, second and third generation migrants. They are local business owners, cultural leaders, young families and elders who remember when the Furlan Club was one of the few places migrants felt safe and could be seen. The petition is more than a digital signature. It's a community, a heartbeat, a collective expression that the Furlan Club matters, that it deserves protection, that its story of post-war migration, community resilience, cultural celebration and civic contribution should be preserved, not silenced by demolition. I speak with this as having been grown up at the Furlan Club, and my late father has played bocce there for many, many years, and my mum still plays bocce. So it's an Italian sport that it's been around, and the Furlan was one of the first 4 Italian clubs built in Australia, and 2 in Victoria and 2 in Australia. So it really does have a legacy. People have marched in streets for less, and yet here our community is simply asking to be heard, respected and protected. We urge this council not to ignore the voices of its people. With this petition, we are telling you this place is still loved, this place still matters, and this place deserves to stand. Please stand with us. Thank you.
Patricia. Okay, we might do a vote on the tabling of the petition. I'm sorry, we're in the middle of something here, so John. John, your questions were not approved, so I'm sorry. We are now going to do a vote on the motion to table that petition. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's carried unanimously, so thank you very much, Patricia. Councillor Demetriadis, we will now like to table the second petition.
I asked 3 new questions today. I remember the last
Yeah, your questions did not pass our governance rules, I'm afraid, John.
What is wrong with the questions I asked?
You spoke, the governance staff spoke to you for quite a long time, I understand. John, I'm going to ask you please to sit down.
I'll sit down, but I'm going to still talk.
No, I'm going to ask you to be silent.
I'm not going to follow me. I asked questions, I have submitted in the appropriate way at the correct time, and now you're going to bully me saying it not.
Respectfully, John.
Excuse me, John. Yes.
Can you please take your seat?
I will take my seat when I get an answer.
Can you please take your seat?
I'll take it when I get an answer. I'm not going to be bullied by you again and by the mayor. Okay, I submitted these questions. I get a phone call at 20 past 4 telling the questions from last month, not this month. Last month's questions weren't up to date.
That's it, John. That's it. So the security will escort you out. As they will. As per my letter and my coffee with you. You just no, they're not going to touch you. You're just going to walk out calmly. You're going to walk out calmly. And you'll get an answer. You'll get an answer. You're not going to get it in this forum, so you please leave.
When can I see you,
Hey,
Mr. CEO?
anytime you like. I've had coffee with you.
I'm not busy tomorrow. How about tomorrow?
Let's see what we can do, eh? Out you go. John,
I'm
if
sorry,
you could
Julie,
if
can you
just
please also maintain silence in the
just
chamber?
make your way out. Thank you.
Julie, can you please maintain silence? Respectfully, John, we need you to leave now, please. We might just adjourn for 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we were up to the second petition. So Councillor Dimitriadis, could you please now table that second petition?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I seek to table a petition titled Save Northcote Indoor Sports Centre, Keep Our Kids in the Game, to be referred to the CEO for consideration and response. The petition has been signed by approximately 87 people in hard copy, from my understanding, and complies with the Council's governance rules. The petition reads as follows. We, the undersigned, request that Darebin Council help in finding a new venue, set up new nets, finding someone with funding, extra staff, and prevent the competition from falling over. For 25 years, the Northcote Indoor Sports Centre at 338 Mansfield Street, Thornbury, has been the beating heart of our cricket-mad community. Generations have laced up here. Parents who played their first indoor matches under its roof now cheer on their own children in the very same venue. Future stars such as Jake Fraser McGurk and even Goliath from The Chaser cut their teeth on these courts. Now the legacy is under threat. The building has been sold to an overseas developer intent on turning the venue into a timber warehouse. Unless a new home and financial backing are secured by the 6th of June, junior bats will fall silent and centuries of combined community spirit will be boxed away. What we stand to lose, Victoria's largest junior indoor cricket competition, nearly 40 sides and growing every week. Programs for girls and boys, under 10s to under 16s, plus women and men's leagues that fill the centre Monday through to Thursday. Dedicated staff who volunteer well beyond business hours to coach, umpire, mentor, and keep kids active and connected. A proven talent pathway that has already launched professional careers and lifelong friendships. Indoor sport is more than a pastime. It's a safe year-round exercise, a sanctuary for teens and a hub that binds Thornbury, Preston and the northern suburbs together. If this centre closes, the nearest alternatives are Bandura, Box Hill or Hoppers Crossing, a near impossible trek for many families. We need, 1, a suitable building large enough for 3 courts, change rooms and parking. 2, funding or sponsorship to secure a long-term lease and fit out. 3, media amplification. Every article, share and post helps us reach potential partners. Alex Jasensek and Peter Shine have given everything to foster grassroots sport. Now it's our turn to bat for them, and for every child whose dream begins with the thud of a tapped-up ball on the nets at Northcote. Stand with us, share this message. Help keep indoor cricket alive in the inner north. Kind regards on behalf of the Northcote cricket community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dimitriadis. Do we have a seconder for the tabling of the petition? Councillor Salkos, thank you. I now call on Frank Mayer as the submitter of the petition to make a 2-minute submission. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, councillors and mayor. It's the first time, so I'm a bit nervous and a little emotional too, because that junior indoor comp is what I built over the past 7 years, and I don't want to lose that. So,
have you got the mic on?
Yeah,
it's on. Okay, great.
maybe it's just way on speaker. But yeah, I spent 7 years building up that junior indoor comp. We've got girls, we've got 12 through 16 tries, one of the best competitions going around. So I'm not sure what to say. All I say is that if you can do something to keep the venue, or not keep the venue, but at least keep the competition open and provide somewhere for us, that's all I can really ask. I'm not sure what else to say, guys. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, I'll put the motion to the vote for the tabling of the petition. So all those in favour, raise your hand. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you, Frank. Okay. So that's the end of the petition. So now up to item 9, consideration of reports. So, councillors, we do have a very full agenda and we need to get through in line with the time limits of our governance rules. So I will be permitting questions of officers prior to the commencement of debate on each item, but if I think sufficient questioning has occurred, I'll exercise my right under the governance rules to limit questions and ask the debate to commence. I'll also exercise my right to ask for only the mover, seconder and any councillor speaking against to speak to a motion, depending on how we're going with time. So the first report we have to consider this evening is the local law adoption.
I have a procedural motion, and that's just basically to change the order of business to bring forward a couple of items, just because we've got submitters in the gallery that want to speak on them, so maybe we could bring them forward. And that was item 9.3 and 9.5, I believe, to put them up ahead in the agenda and then then go through the public agenda.
We also have submitters for 9.9 too, so.
Sorry, I meant 9.9. I think whatever we have submitters for, I think if we could put them in at the top of the agenda.
Okay, do we have some clarity on order then?
So, I think it's just 9.3 and 9.9.
Is that correct? Is anyone?
I believe there's a submission for 9.5 as well.
Okay, so we're going to go 9.3, 9.5, 9.9, and then we're going back to the start. Okay, I hope someone else can keep a record of that. So sorry, I think I just need to get a vote on that. So we've got a seconder. Is everyone okay with that procedural motion? Thank you. Okay, so 9.3 is... 9.3 is the Furlan Club. So we have 6 people wishing to make 2-minute submissions on this item. So I'm going to call on you each. So first up, we've got Adam Momente, to come to the lectern to make your submission. So thanks, Adam. Can we have the clock up, please? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Adam Mortimer. I'm a principal with Lovell Chen Heritage Consultants. I'd like to say that the property at 1 Matisse Street is of interest for its associations with the Furlan Club since the mid-1980s. It does not, however, meet a threshold that warrants protection or inclusion in the schedule to the heritage overlay of the Darebin planning scheme. The club buildings have evolved considerably as the Furlan Club has sought to create new revenue streams and diversify amenities. The physical fabric is a composite of material dating to the early mid-1980s, the 1990s and more recently. The grounds were contracted significantly in 2015 when the club sold the building. It is understood that the interior is also significantly modified. However, access to the building has been prohibited since the fire of 15 months ago. The extent of change is such that the historical associations have very limited legibility in the building fabric. The extent of change would typically exclude the building from consideration for a site-specific heritage overlay. Based on previous experience, as well as the guidance provided by Planning Practice Note number 1, there is a very limited prospect that a planning scheme amendment that relies on criteria A and G would be supported by Planning Panels Victoria. It is submitted respectfully that Council should adopt option 2, that is not to proceed with Planning Scheme Amendment C226. It is also submitted that the principles of the Planning Practice Note relating to places of significance for historical or social reasons apply. And this says that planning is about managing the environment and its changes, that there must be something to manage. And when there's no fabric, a commemorative plaque is an appropriate way of signifying the importance of the place to the local community. I note that the property owner is willing for this association to be recognised.
Adam, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we've got Steve Katzimakado. Is there a Steve? Let me try and get it right. Katzimadeko? No? Okay. John Cicero?
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors. My name is John Cicero. I'm a lawyer from Best Hooper Lawyers and I'm here representing the landowner. In 2008, Context prepared a report for the Council recommending that the property be included in a heritage overlay. In 2011, Context prepared, in fact, a statement of significance for the Council for the land to be included in a heritage overlay. It wasn't. Council didn't advance a heritage overlay, and for the right reasons. And bearing in mind, back then, the club was the owner and the occupier. Since then, a number of things have happened. The club sold the land in 2015. If it felt it had such a strong association with the place, why was the property sold? It was sold and they entered into a lease for 20 years. At the end of that 20-year lease, their association could not be guaranteed. They'd be at the whim of the landlord. As you know, the club is in administration. It has significant debts, and we think that there is just simply no basis upon which it could resume occupation of these premises. The lease has been terminated. But more importantly, councillors, putting a heritage overlay on this property will not secure the continued occupation of the property by the Furlan Club. That's the thing that you have to get through yourselves. I know it's a very emotive thing for you, and the community behind me is very emotional about it, but at the end of the day, the imposition of a heritage overlay will not secure the future of the Furlan at the property. And that's what you have to consider when you're making your decision. It's not about emotion, it's about meeting, as Adam said, the heritage thresholds, and clearly the heritage thresholds are not met by this property. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Peter Mazzolini.
Good evening. Thank you all for taking the time to hear our submission as we work at getting the Furlan Club up and running again. I've been a long-time member of the Furlan for 40 plus years. I've grown up around the place, and look, I hope us putting forward these submissions help to allow or get the council to come on board and put a heritage overlay on the building. We look forward to a positive outcome being as part of the vibrant Darebin, Friulano, Italian and Italian communities throughout Australia. I've got a list of items of inquiries, if I may go through them really quickly. The club was founded in 1957. Gatherings initially took place around in the neighbourhoods. Land was purchased, and as was mentioned, yes, the building was built in the 80s. Since then, and over a long period of time, many things have happened that have been community-based. And we talk about heritage and cultural overlays, and they are about community. There's things like Alpini groups, which are regions from Italy, the mountain soldiers. We've got things like the World Bocce Championships were held there. We've had the Italian president attend there. We've got regular dances and activities where cultural activities, both folkloristic and modern activities occur where people can come and participate. It's not just about the building. The building is an integral part of what the club is. There's many activities there, and we aim to move forward and can maintain the building that was built by members by their hands in the 80s, which was a follow-on from a building that was built by members in the 60s, sorry. There are so many things being passed as a cultural thing that we need to
wind you up.
I appreciate that. Look, the granting of heritage listing will be a major step in the drive to being able to commit to this community hub to be up and running again as part of the general community. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia, did you have anything more to say? I think you do? Okay.
I think that it's really important to note that there is a very strong cultural, social significance of the Furlan Club. And yes, the building was sold, and unfortunately the process of that was not fair and reasonable, and the building has recently been sold again without actually letting the club know. So there's a whole lot of issues that exist in the background, but that shouldn't impact how tonight's decision is made. Tonight's decision will give the club the opportunity to get back in the doors and commence trading again. Unfortunately, we have been locked out of the club and there is no reason. We gained occupancy permits. We've done everything feasibly possible to get back into the club, but we are met at a standstill. So this is one definite strong move to protect a community that is strong and has very serious cultural significance. And may I add, there was a study done by consultants that were commissioned by council to give them the opinion of whether it was viable for cultural listing, and the vote was yes. They submitted a report that was quite significant in the value of the club being culturally listed. I introduced before Cavaliere Antonio Matisi, and I think it's really important to note that he was a mayor of this council for 3 years, and his work with the club led to Matisi Street being changed, and we as the club actually put that motion forward, and that was quite an honour, and we made him an honorary member. The connection exemplifies criterion 6 of the Heritage Framework, recognising places that hold strong social or cultural associations. For a particular community, the Furlan Club is more than a building, of course. It is a place where memories were made, where we want to progress and share those memories in the future with our children. There is plenty of land to build on in Darebin, but there is only one Furlan Club, and its story is entwined with Darebin's own. Thank you for considering this important place. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. And the last speaker is Lena Messina. Lena, would you like to make your submission, please?
Good evening again. First and foremost, I have to say, and I listened to the words put up by the barrister, unfortunately the Furlan Club was made the hands of migrants. They made some poor decisions that made them financially unviable. They went and bought into EGMs. That did not go their way. So I just wanted to reiterate that. The Furlan Club is not just a building. It is a living, breathing institution that has served the cornerstone of the Furlan and the wider Italian-Australian community in Darebin for over 5 decades. It's a place of connection, tradition, celebration for generations that have gathered not only for meals or functions, but to share language, history, values brought through them overseas and integrated in the local fabric of multicultural Melbourne. I recall an important place where Councillor Demetriadis and I led the naming of the Pathophlasis Laneway in Thornbury, a powerful act that acknowledged the Greek culture and its contribution to our city. This same respect must be extended to the Furlan Club and other places of cultural significance, as their legacy represents our migrants that first came here. It's not about bricks and mortar, it's about the stories, the people, and the heritage embedded in this space. As our city grows and evolves, a lot of these places will be gone. There'll be no places that will show intangible yet irreplaceable legacies of our migrant communities. A heritage overlay will acknowledge the Furlan Club, but also other clubs that might want to address it in the future. Cultural and historical values by the Italian Australians, but to Darebin as a proud multicultural municipality. We must ensure that cultural heritage is not a sideline in the face of development pressures. Places like the Furlan Club have gone, they cannot be replaced. I urge this council to take leadership, acknowledge that multiculturalism is an important and significant place in Darebin.
Thank you, Lena. Okay, we will move on to this item on the agenda. So, councillors, do you have any questions of officers? So these are questions of clarification regarding this item, noting that due to the complex nature of this issue, we have 2 options of motions that are available. Councillor Jelly, you had your hand up.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Just one question about, so the report mentions, the report in our papers mentions that there's a need for an independent assessment to confirm if the building can be restored. Do we have any indication on how much that might cost?
Through you, Mayor. We haven't gone out and received quotes, but from previous similar types of work, we understand it would be in the order of $20,000 to $30,000, and that would be an independent engineering structural assessment to provide information about the structural integrity of the building post-fire, and the purpose of that would be to inform our heritage advisor's independent view of whether the building post-fire would still meet the tests of heritage significance.
Any other questions? Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. We have heard tonight, and it's in the report as well, about the club going into voluntary administration. And I'm wondering if officers can provide any clarity or insights on how long a review like that is likely to take, when we might get a response to something like that. Thank you.
Through you, Mayor, and thank you for your question. The details about the ownership and the financial status haven't contributed to the recommendation, so we don't have that information in front of us. It would need to be clarified by the leasee and the owner.
Thanks, Councillor O'Brien. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Do we have a mover for the motion? Councillor Arturi. Councillor Arturi, sorry. And which motion? Which
option 1, Mayor.
Option 1? Okay. So do we have a seconder? No. Councillor Demetriadis. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Being a proud member of the Italian-Australian community, this motion is one that is particularly close to my heart. The Furlan Club has been part of Darebin and Thornbury's community fabric for close to 70 years and has always played a key role in the multicultural community that we are also proud of. Unfortunately, following a fire in February 2024, the club has not been able to continue its operations and the premises they have occupied since 1981. When we consider the social significance of clubs like this, we aren't talking about the physical structure. We are talking about a community that over generations has shared celebrations, recreational activities, Italian culture and language, and a long storied history. Clubs like the Furlan Club are imperative if we are to keep and nurture in Darebin a culture brought from Italy, and in particular from the proud region of Friuli Venezia Giulia that has been so successfully integrated into the Australian way of life. As we grow as a city and as a country, and as the original migrants from the post-war era from my nonni's generation sadly pass on, I've always said to friends and colleagues that we are at real risk of losing the institutions, the social clubs and the societies that have carried the burden of keeping tradition and culture alive for the last 3 generations. The Furlan Club has even more recently played a role in supporting newly arrived Italian migrants as they settled into the community. Because of the important role this club has played, we owe them the respect that they deserve. We owe them a chance, just a chance, at keeping the culturally significant use of the premises at 1 Matisse Street alive. Turning to the substantive decision that we have to make tonight, councillors. The site is significant from a heritage perspective for the following reasons. The premises not only illustrates the social and cultural history of post-war migration to Thornbury and the surrounds, but has also, in the ways in which the local diasporic Italian community has maintained their cultural heritage, social connections and identity in the context of a new country. And second, the premises have not only served as a focal point and meeting place for Darebin's substantial present-day Italian community, but as a place where strong and special attachments have been cultivated by cultural exchange and shared pasts. What we essentially have before us are 2 options, and this is the way I see it. One, which is the motion on the table, and thank you, Councillor Demetriadis, for seconding the motion, will give the club a chance to rebuild and revive by pulling the levers that we as a council have available to us. The other will condemn the club and effectively prevent it from ever occupying the premises again, and it's quite a binary decision, councillors. I want to thank the club, its members and supporters, and all those who turned out in support tonight, over the 1,000 petitioners and the President as well. And I hope, councillors, that you can agree with the notions that I've put forward this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arturi. Does the seconder wish to speak to the motion?
I'll reserve my right, Mayor.
Okay. Is there anyone wishing to speak against? Thank you, Councillor Sangster.
Yep, through you, Mayor, thank you. I am rising to speak against option 1 with real regret, with deep regret. To choose option 1 would mean that the council undertakes a significant financial and operational risk. We would be investing over $100,000 of public funds and 18 months of dedicated staff time with no guarantee of success and only the very real possibility of rejection by the planning panel. And even if against the odds we were successful, there's still no assurance of long-term viability. What we're talking about here, what we're trying to protect is the spirit of the club. The spirit of the club is strong. That is demonstrated powerfully by the people gathered here this evening, by the people over 1,000 people have signed a petition. The spirit is strong, and the spirit hasn't had a building for quite some time. The Furlan Club, as many of us know, has faced financial hardship. In fact, recently, as 2nd of May, the club entered voluntary administration. We cannot ignore the fact that prior to the fire in 2024, and while gaming machines were still in operation, the community lost over $440,000 just in 2022-2023 financial year alone. That's money that left families and households, money that was gambled away. So while we're being asked to consider the heritage of this club, it's important to distinguish between bricks and mortar and community spirit. The social heritage of the Furlan Club is real, it's deeply valued, but this is not housed in a specific building, as is proved by its ongoing spirit here tonight. It resides in the people. Yep, the shared history and the club's incredible legacy of bringing together first, second and third generation migrant communities. The club has moved before, the club can move again. As the social values assessment confirmed, the club fulfills a vital connection to community, but this connection speaks to the spirit, not to the physical structure. And that spirit, the proud, enduring spirit which has burned brightly for 68 years, which migrated with the people from Italy, can thrive in a new home. Let's not honour this spirit of the Furlan Club with a false motion which is probably going to fail. Let's try and find a way by supporting the club, by recommending that they go through the expression of interest process, and find a new venue for them. I'm speaking against option 1. I think that's the only ethically aligned, financially sustainable option.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have any other speakers? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I want to first acknowledge the important legacy that the Furlan Club has had in our community. It's clubs like these that are part of Darebin's social fabric, places of connection, of belonging and history, and that cultural heritage does matter. But at this point in time, it's unclear if the heritage application will be supported by the state government. And in the face of the club's financial challenges, I don't feel that I have sufficient information to make an evaluation of whether council should proceed to seek heritage protection. Maybe it's a matter of timing, but I know that's also quite challenging given the needs, the timing and the needs around proceeding with interim heritage protection and the request that's been made of us by the state government. This is not to say that staff have not done all that's in their power to provide us with information and politically neutral advice, but that the external factor of the current financial administration process makes it quite unclear to me if the club will be able to continue in a form that enables it to proceed with the work of rebuilding. So my preference would be that we could possibly wait until the financial administration process is concluded before we consider this item, but alas, it's before us now, and I feel the only option available to me is to abstain.
Thank you. We might move to the vote unless... all right, Councillor Soppers would like to speak.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm speaking in support tonight of placing the heritage overlay over the Furlan Club. And I want to note that it's deeply concerning to hear councillors are even contemplating not placing an overlay over the club, and if pursued would be an insult to the multicultural identity we're meant to champion. Founded in 1957, the Furlan Club has been more than just a venue. It's been a cultural institution for our Italian community. For generations, it has served as a hub for social connection, cultural celebration and community life. To deny the club this protection is not just an administrative decision, it risks wiping away decades of history, relationships and identity. It disregards the deep cultural connection and emotional ties that thousands of local residents still hold to this place. The Furlan Club deserves recognition, and our community deserves to see its heritage respected and preserved. Choosing not to support this would be a step in the wrong direction, one that carries real consequences, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. I urge you to support this motion for heritage overlay, and in doing so, reaffirm our commitment to preserving Darebin's rich diversity. As councillors, it's our duty to protect and honour our communities. That makes the city what it is. I commend this to the Chamber, Mayor.
Thank you. We're going to move to the vote, unless the seconder wants to pick up their right to speak.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to say a few points about this particular item. So I also stand tonight in support of option 1, and thank you to Councillor Tsalkos and Councillor Arturi for raising this option. I also wanted to thank all the submitters here tonight, the supporters of the Furlan Club that are here, and from everyone we've heard over the last few weeks about this issue. We hear you, and as we've heard from you all, the Furlan Club, which was founded almost 70 years ago in Thornbury, gave migrants a place to call at home. It was built by community volunteers who gave their time and talent to establish a club's home for generations to come. Today, the Furlan Club has become one of the largest Italian clubs in Darebin, with extensive cultural and historical significance to the community, including its importance to the Italian community through its conservation of the Friuli culture, as we've heard tonight and from Councillor Arturi. Growing up in the area, I attended the Furlan Club for many celebrations, and even during high school at Thornbury High, which is located directly across the road from the club, I recall many visits to play bocce and squash with my friends. What concerns me tonight is some of the arguments that I have heard from some of the opposing councillors, and that is particularly that there might be significant operational and financial risks. However, what we've heard from officers tonight, that it will cost $20,000 to $30,000. And so what I ask you, is this what our multicultural communities are worth? In my opinion, this claim is disrespectful to all our communities.
Hang on a moment. I think, what's your point of order?
My point of order is that it's not going to cost us $30,000. It's going to cost us $100,000 and 18 months' worth of work.
Can we point to the item? Have you got...
Yep, sorry. To be precise, is misleading or a false statement.
So what were you referring to? That's 20,000, because the cost is 100,000.
Sorry, Mayor, I was just referring to the officer's comment about the independent assessment cost that was asked by Councillor Jelly, which was 20 to 30,000.
It was 20, that was what they said about that particular item. That's not what it's going to cost us. No.
Councillor Dimitriadis is arguing that it's going to only cost us $20,000 to $30,000, which is misleading.
Can you continue on with
Sure, thank
explaining
you, Mayor. I'm happy
that figure?
Yeah, not a problem. So I was going by what the officers have just said tonight. I mean, if Councillor Sangster would like to express where she's got the figure of $100,000.
In the report?
That's in the report.
Yes, thank you. So, and if we're going to put a value on multiculturalism, whether it's $100,000 or whether it's 18 months worth of work, I think it's actually disrespectful to our multicultural communities. So I'm sorry, but this local club, which has been around for 70 years and has been welcoming to all our multicultural communities. And as a child of Greek migrants, I know how important it is for migrants and their children to have somewhere to go to call home. Putting a price on this, whether it's time, effort or resources, is quite disrespectful, in my opinion. Clubs are like the Furlan Club.
I need you to wind up. Thank you. Would you like a right of reply, Councillor Arturi?
Very briefly, Mayor. I must say that we always talk about the importance of multiculturalism, so I'm a bit shocked at some of the positions being put forward, but I think no one is denying that there are challenges with this.
Point of order, Mayor. Sorry, under 10.1G, it's a false or misleading statement. I don't believe anybody who spoke against the motion this evening undermined or refuted the importance of multiculturalism in Darebin.
Yeah, I didn't believe that was what Councillor Turi was saying, but can you perhaps rephrase?
Yeah, I'll just move on. I didn't say that, but anyway. So I am shocked at some of the positions being put forward. No one's denying that this is a challenge. But I think that the decision that we have to make tonight is either to support the club and give it a chance for the reasons that have been outlined in this debate, or we simply give up on the club. And I don't think the latter of those options is preferable in light of the reasons that have been said. But I think the difference in the positions that have been put this evening are quite stark. But I again commend the motion to the chamber.
Okay, we're going to go for the vote. So all those in favour, please raise your hand. So that's Councillor Arturi, Councillor Boglis, Councillor Demetriadis, Councillor Salkos and myself, and all those against. So Councillor Sangster and abstaining Councillor O'Brien and Councillor Jelly. Thank you. Okay, so we will move on to, is it 9.5? 9.5, which is the Melbourne Water Pipe Track Shared Use Path. Okay. All right, we have one person online wishing to make a 2-minute submission, I believe. Cameron Meston. Go ahead, Cameron. No worries. Go ahead.
My name is Cameron Meston and I'm a resident of Darebin, living in the suburb of Northcote. I'm here representing Streets Alive Darebin, who are a community organisation with a vision of a Darebin where streets are used by people of all ages, irrespective of whether they choose to walk, cycle, use public transport or drive. I'm speaking today in support of the office's proposal to conduct a detailed feasibility study for a bike, pram and walking trail along the Melbourne Water Pipe Reserve between Elizabeth Street and the Mernda Rail Line in Reservoir, funded as part of the 2025-26 budget process. If built, this project will provide the missing pathway between Reservoir and Coburg that forms part of the Council's endorsed Northern Regional Trail Strategy. By building the pathway along the pipeline, it will provide the much-needed east-west connection between the Northern Regional and Mary Creek Trail. This is a missing link in Council's endorsed Northern Regional Trail Strategy. We would also like to offer our support in writing to the state government to seek a council-funded contribution to the feasibility study and to start formal discussion about project delivery.
Thank you. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Questions? Yep, Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Are there any opportunities? So I note that the Northern Trail Strategy notes that this pathway extends all the way down through to the Mary Creek, which is just beyond Darebin's boundaries. Are there any opportunities for us to partner with or into discussions with Marybeck Council about how the project might be continued all the way to the Mary Creek so that everybody who lives or anybody who's accessing this trail can actually travel all the way to the beautiful Mary Creek Trail?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Jelly, through you, Mayor. We often work with our colleagues over in Marybeck Council about projects on either side of the creek and how they might connect. If Council chooses to progress a feasibility study, we'd definitely be engaging our colleagues over there.
Any other questions? Councillor Boglis? Okay, just any other questions? No. So go ahead, amendment.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. I would like to move an amendment to point 2. This was passed at the last council meeting, and if we could just speak to point 1 and 3.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm presuming you're moving the motion. Do we have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Arturi. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, please, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to officers for preparing this report. I rise tonight in support of the proposed feasibility study for a shared use trail along the Melbourne Water Pipe Reserve from Elizabeth Street to Mernda. This corridor has sat dormant and fenced off for years. An underused public asset hiding in plain sight. With community support already behind it, we now have an opportunity to reimagine this space as a green, safe and inclusive corridor for walking, cycling, prams, wheelchair and mobility devices. This isn't just about building a path, it's about stitching together our city, connecting people in Reservoir and Preston to local parks, shops, schools and transport links in a way that's safe, climate conscious and equitable. The northern suburbs have long lagged behind inactive transport infrastructure. A modest $45,000 feasibility study now could lay the foundation for a transformational project and help unlock state government funding down the line. It's also worth noting this project is already ranked 5th in the Northern Trail strategy with strong community input behind it, so we're not just starting from scratch. Yes, we know there's a technical challenge. 90% of the land isn't council owned and underground infrastructure may require creative solutions, but you all do know that St George's Road is actually part of the Melbourne Water Pipeline and it's covered in concrete and a tram. So that's exactly why this study is important. It gives us a roadmap, clarity and a platform for partnership with Melbourne Water and state government. More than anything, this proposal is about fairness. Reservoir deserves the same level of infrastructure and investment as the well-connected inner city streets of Northcote, Thornbury and Fairfield. And if this moves forward, we'll make sure the community is involved in every step of the way, helping shape the design, identify safety needs and plan for a more connected future. Let's lead with purpose, let's gather the facts and let's bring our community with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak?
I'll reserve my right, thanks, Mayor.
Okay. Are there any councillors who want to speak in opposition?
I would like to move an amendment, please, Mayor, which I circulated earlier today. Amendment at point 4.
Okay.
Yes, that's it.
So is there a seconder for that? Do I have to ask Connie? Okay, would you accept that?
Given we don't have a feasibility study for this water pipe track right now, we haven't even got the feasibility study. I guess this is definitely a future discussion and I'm definitely open to it. I understand this will cost a lot more money if we're doing that. So I'm amendable to it once we get this report back and get some more information, I guess.
Mayor, can we seek some clarification about what the cost might be of the implication of this?
Hang on a moment. So are you saying yes or no, Connie?
Sorry, I'm saying no for now until we get advice on this feasibility study and I think I'm definitely amendable to this down the track, but right now this is $45,000 is actually what we're committing to.
Okay, and I don't believe we can get that information right at this moment, so we might need to revisit this.
Is that a question we can pose of council staff now?
Can you all stop? Sure, ask a question.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Sorry, if we could just have some clarification in reference to the question I asked earlier today. Would this step, as it's worded, add additional cost to this feasibility study?
Thank you for the question, Councillor, through you, Mayor. Having conversations with our colleagues in Merribet Council about upcoming planned projects and developing feasibility studies in our own area doesn't cost us anything.
Okay, so Connie, any change in your decision? Sorry, Councillor Boglis.
Right, yep, sorry. But we're talking about Merribet, we're not talking about Darebin Council. So if that's the case, then I'm okay with that, if there's no cost at this stage.
Okay, so that's yes. Okay, so do we have a seconder for the motion? Matt, would you accept?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Any councillors who wish to speak in opposition to the motion? No. Anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to provide clarity for anybody who's following along to this in the chamber and at home, I believe it's a very important step because the Northern Trails strategy actually recommends completing this extension all the way from the Mernda Trail line to the Murray Creek Trail, and it just happens that there's a portion of that between Elizabeth Street and the trail that is on Marybeck Council land, as opposed to so Darebin Council. There's just a very strange part of the council boundaries where we don't have that part of the Murray Creek within our boundaries. So that's why I believe it's useful at this point in time. Perhaps it was a bit more controversial than I had anticipated, that we have some discussions with our colleagues on the other side of Elizabeth Street to ensure that everybody can have connection through. But I think this is a commendable project. I'm really excited to see this coming through, and I really look forward to reading, and I say this with all seriousness as quite a nerd, I actually really look forward to reading the feasibility study. So thank you, Councillor Bogness, for bringing this to us.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go to vote unless... Councillor Aturi, do you... No. Okay. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And that's unanimous. Thank you. All right. 9.9.
Mayor, I wish to redeclare my conflict that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you very much. Just give us a moment. Okay, you can stay for the moment. Yeah, so we've got 3 people who have got 4 people. I think, Vanessa, you can leave. The others don't need to leave just yet. So this is going to be a little bit bitsy and tricky, so just bear with us. All right, so we've got 3 people wishing to make a 2-minute submission each. So I'm going to call on Jason Gasper. Thanks, Jason. If you want to come and speak, as I said, 2 minutes.
Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening, councillors. My name is Jason Gasper, and I'm the head coach and operator of Northcote Tennis. For the past 5 years, this has been more than my workplace, it's been my purpose. When I first arrived, there was just a few players hitting balls. Now we've built something remarkable. We've created a thriving, inclusive community. From kids picking up a racket, excuse me, for the first time, to adults rediscovering their love for the game. This is where people feel connected, safe and supported. We started junior competition, created a new girls on court tennis and mentoring program, hosted community events, donated to schools, and worked closely with clubs like the Northcote Junior Football Club and Dennis Cricket Club. Every initiative, every relationship has been built around making this a place of belonging. We've supported players through hardship and part subsidised competition programs so that tennis is never out of reach. This isn't just sport, it's community wellbeing. Our team has invested heavily, emotionally, physically and financially. We're stuck through COVID, construction and short-term leases because we believe in what's possible here. But now our lease is up and there's a real chance this could go to tender. If that happens, the community we've built, the one that trusts us, depends on us, could be lost. This site isn't underused. It's alive, it's evolving. It has real potential to be a sustainable, long-term community venue with the right support from council. So tonight, I'm not asking
I'm going to ask you to wind up very quickly.
I'll be very quick, thank you. Tonight I'm asking not just for a lease, I'm asking for recognition of everything we've built, for continuity, for heart. Thank you, and I'd love to welcome any of you down to the courts to experience it for yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I now call on Kathy Costa, who's joining us virtually to make your submission. Thank you, Kathy.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello, thank you, Mayor and councillors. On National Sorry Day, I'd firstly like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, whose lands are where we live, work and play. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge and agree that sovereignty was never ceded. My name is Kathy Coates and I'm the Junior Coordinator for Northcote Rec, which is the community completely volunteer-run group which participates in the North Eastern Junior Tennis Association competition and operates out of the tennis courts at 180 Victoria Road in Northcote. I'd like to strongly urge Council to exclude the Northcote tennis courts from the expression of interest process, as there is an incredibly strong local community which is thriving and growing, and Council may not be aware of all the activities provided at the site. Over the last 3 years, Northcote Rec has grown exponentially. It grew from just 2 teams and now has 6, with the latest team to join being a group of very talented primary school aged children, all from the local area. The popularity of competition tennis at Northcote Rec is unique, with many families on the waiting list and several players having moved from other clubs to be part of the welcoming, inclusive and culturally diverse atmosphere provided. Players and parents in the teams form close bonds with connections between many different schools and other sporting groups within the Darebin community having developed. Northcote Rec has been the very grateful recipient of a tremendous amount of support and generous donation of financial and other resources from the private operator of the courts. And on another note, I happen to also be the mother of a 10-year-old sports mad boy who has recently been diagnosed with a rare and progressive neurological disorder which affects his mobility, strength and endurance. Since before he was able to walk, he has always had a ball around him, and as well as tennis, he has loved engaging in AFL, cricket and soccer. Unfortunately, he can no longer engage in any of these other than tennis. The director of the private operator at Northcote Rec is the only one who has invested in him and created an ongoing sense of identity, that he can still compete and excel by focusing on his skill development.
I'm sorry, Kathy, I'm going to need you to get you to wind up.
So that's all I'd like, is to urge Council to exclude Northcote tennis from the expression of interest process.
Thank you very much. Okay. And I think we have Miranda Sharp back online. Do we? Yep.
Yes, sorry, that was a bit confusing before because I presented half of my my submission.
Well, you've got 2 minutes to do the other half. To do it all.
Yeah.
But 2 minutes.
All right. So I think I was at the point of running through the suggestions that, with the greatest of respect, because I know how much work has gone into this, we've made that might be the steps to go forward. So they were the immediate engagement with community representatives, the transparency of background documents that we know have been undertaken but yet to unseen, the feasibility study review that was undertaken and to be released in May, June this year, and then, and only then, we hope that that would be the time that an expression of interest process would be undertaken for either the existing spaces or partner for the entire space for 2 Wingrove Street. So that would be delayed until after those steps had been undertaken. I think my final point is that the site has endured over a decade of delay and instability. No one is to blame. We're not saying that. We just want to start afresh with a new CEO taking up the reins and working with us. But if council is serious about equitable, transparent and community-led development, it has to start with these foundational steps in place. We as a community in Alphington are ready to contribute, but what we need is clear commitment and process, and we hope that that will be considered tonight in context with there's an enormous amount of sites across Darebin, and we hope that you'll just postpone number 2 Wingrove Street for the very short time being.
Thank you, Miranda.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I understand that we've got councillors who wish to declare conflicts of interest in relation to this particular item. And as such, we've got an amended officer recommendation which will allow those councillors to declare their conflicts and leave the room while the debate and vote is undertaken on the relevant items. This also means that all councillors will be able to vote on the aspects of the item that they don't have a conflict with. So point 1 is going to be considered in 3 parts and will be shown on the screen separately. So maybe if we can get, we might ask Matt Arturi to declare your conflict and then leave the chamber.
Yes, Mayor, I declare a general conflict in relation to line items 7, 8, 9, 10 and 12 of the report.
Yep, thank you. And so do we get the motion 1A up on the screen, please?
Excuse me, Mayor, could I ask a question when we're ready?
Sure, go ahead.
Just a question for staff. Can you please just confirm for us what are council's legal obligations when it comes to entering into like long-term leases as opposed to something that's like just 12 months? Is there a kind of a threshold point? Just seeking some clarification, thank you.
Through you, Mayor. Thanks for the question, Councillor. So Council does have obligations under Section 115 of the Local Government Act in regards to these lease arrangements. Essentially, it's to do with the term of the lease in excess of 10 years or the commercial rent of the property being greater than $100,000.
Is that okay? Ready to continue on? Okay, so do we have a mover for, I'm going to have a cough, for 1A? Thank you, Councillor Solkos. Seconder, Councillor O'Brien. Does the mover wish to speak?
I'll reserve my right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Seconder, wish to speak?
I shall speak.
You don't have to, but no. Yeah. Does the seconder wish to speak?
No need, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Are we happy to move to the vote? It's on? Okay, thank you. So all those in favour, raise your hand. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. We will get Councillor Arturi back in the room. And Councillor Solkos, I believe you might be next.
Thanks, Mayor. I have a general conflict of interest on line items 1, 2 and 3.
Thank you. If we might just get you to leave for a few moments. So if we could get motion 1B up, please. Okay, do we have a mover for this? Councillor Jelly, seconder. Councillor Turi, does the mover wish to speak?
I will rise in 30 seconds to say that I'm really excited to see the this EOI process finally opening up to for expressions of interest for our vacant properties.
Thank you. Seconder? Reserving the right, but we're probably going to just go straight to a vote. So, yeah. Everyone happy to go straight to a vote? Okay, all those in favour, raise your hand. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillor Boglis, can you declare your conflict?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I have a general conflict of interest with, I believe it's at Wingrove Street.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if we can get point 1C up. Thank you. Okay, do we have a mover for this part of the motion? Councillor Demetriadis, do we have a seconder?
I have an amendment to Wingrove Street.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry.
Okay, do we have a seconder for the amendment? Councillor Salkos? Okay.
Can I ask a question on the amendment?
Yes.
Thank you. So in terms of the feasibility study being completed, can officers give us some guidance on how that aligns with the timing? My recollection is that the extended timing has been allowed so that feasibility can be completed, but if that could just be confirmed, that would be, or refuted.
Okay. Through you, Mayor. The current timelines actually allow for the community consultation, the first round of community consultation, and the feasibility report to be completed in June. And that's why we're proposing to launch the EOI in July to allow time for those two things to be done. But at the same time, we can further delay the launch of the EOI for 2 Wingrove Street if we need to, if we need more time for those two things to be completed. The current timelines do factor in those two things to be completed.
Any other questions? Okay, does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. So while I would love for this item on the agenda to be resolved as quick as possible, I think it's important that we go through a process that includes the community at just about as much as possible. And so tonight the amendment ensures that the 2 vacant sites at 2 Wingrove Street are included in the current EOI process. However, the entire site of 2 Wingrove Street is removed from this process until after community consultation has been completed, until after a community reference group has been established, and until after the feasibility study has been completed. And we would also, I'm hoping that Council will support this amendment to receive a report back to Council detailing the outcome of community consultation, as well as discussions with the community reference group, and an EOI evaluation plan and evaluation criteria are reported to Council for us to then potentially look at going out to an EOI process after that. So as we've heard from submitters tonight and many other times, because this item has come up quite a few times, ensuring that community consultation and establishing a community reference group before Council requests input from external stakeholders through an EOI process about how the site can be developed ensures that community gets a genuine say about the future of this site, which is particularly important given the outcome of the former EOI process, given the outcomes that of that former EOI process have still not been completed. So I hope all councillors can support this amendment to ensure that community is front and centre and included in the future use of this site.
Thank you, Councillor Demetriadis. Does the seconder wish to speak?
I'll reserve my right.
That was you. Thank you, Councillor Selkis. Okay. Would you like to speak against?
I'd like to, sorry, through you, Mayor, I'm wondering if it's possible that we break up this to C and D, because I'm comfortable with C, but I'm not comfortable with D.
Sure.
My reason for my question around D is that council, I don't think it's good governance for us to assume priority of the lease for existing tenants if it's going out to an EOI process. That doesn't seem legal to me.
Sorry, mate, can we get governance advice on that? I mean, that's a big accusation.
I wasn't accusing Councillor Demetriadis, I was just questioning whether or not we can do an EOI to the general community, and with that council's already decided that we're giving preference to one group.
What sort of advice are you looking for?
Just whether it is illegal to...
so not so much governance, but is
or
there any
whatever the
staff
case,
who could answer
yeah,
that question?
whatever the concern was.
Otherwise, on the spot or not, it's okay if it's not able.
Thank you, Mayor. We've previously tested the question of whether council has discretion to appoint a particular party, and the answer to that is yes. So my sort of response at the moment would be I don't think there's a question of legality.
Okay, in that case, comfortable with us putting it all through together? Thank you. Okay, does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Jelly.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just don't believe this amendment is actually necessary. The report clearly outlines a timeline that's been worked through in a very detailed and methodic fashion by council officers that ensures that we are following all the best good governance and probity issues associated with the site. I think the original timeline for deferring the EOI to Wingrove Street was perfectly appropriate, so I don't support this amendment. But I do support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Okay, if no one else wants to speak, we might move. Is there a right of reply? Yep. So would the mover like a right of reply at all? No. Okay. Thank you. We might move to the vote then. So all those in favour of the motion that's on the screen. So that's Councillor Aturi, Councillor Demetriadis, Councillor Selkis and Councillor Alaris. All those against. Councillor Jelly, Councillor O'Brien and Councillor Sangster. Thank you.
Mayor, can I ask a procedural question? I'm not sure, but I know we're trying to move through this, but we're not really getting the opportunity to speak if we have concerns or that are leading us to potentially abstain. And I think that's important that if we do feel that that's where we're leaning, that the community gets an explanation from us.
Sure. I thought I did say, is it okay if we move to the vote now? So let me know if it's not, if I say that, that's all. Very happy for people to keep speaking. But yeah. So sorry if I missed that. Got Councillor Boglis coming back? Yep. Okay. 9 point... Okay, so now we've got all the rest of the items that were in the expression of interest. And Emily has got...
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have an amendment to this item.
Do we have a seconder for this? Councillor Aturi. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Can I ask a question first?
Sorry, you can ask a question. I should have asked that
Thank
first.
you. So just of the officers, in terms of item B, where we're saying priority should be given to the current operator, is there anything in the assessment process in terms of the weighting criteria that would have us understand the benefits that the current operator is bringing, and how would they be weighted in the process overall? Not necessarily like specific percentage or whatever, but just like what are those considerations that we would factor in through the process? Thank you.
Through you, Mayor. Thank you for the question, very apt question. So the process and the evaluation criteria actually provides the perfect mechanism for the existing tenant to put in their best submission forward. And it becomes a mechanism to formalize what is currently a lease that is subject to short-term renewals. So it is the perfect mechanism for them to put in their best submission forward that gets assessed against any other submissions that the public or interested parties may submit. The way the existing tenant has the advantage because they have full information with regards to the site. They have been on site for a while, so they have access to information. They understand the site better than anybody else in the community. So they already have that advantage. And then the process becomes the formal mechanism to get them to submit a long-term proposal. And the criteria is pretty self-explanatory. As I understand it, the tenant is running a commercial enterprise, a commercial business. The criteria allows for, if it's a community organisation, community benefit has a higher weighting. If it's a commercial organisation, we would expect them to cover those commercial aspects as per the evaluation criteria. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay. Mover like to speak.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. My amendment tonight has two parts. Firstly, that Council removes the Clyde Street Tennis Court in Thornbury from the EOI process and instead undertakes consultation with the community to identify the best use of that court. This tennis court used to be available to community members at no cost, but then attracted significant interest from locals when Council closed the court some years ago and told community members that if they wanted to continue playing tennis, they would have to go elsewhere and pay tennis court hire fees. Many community members expressed frustration at Council's explanation that the court was unsafe and have since requested that Council that the courts be upgraded to return the site to its former use as a tennis court. However, as it's currently being proposed in the officer's recommendation, putting this tennis court through an EOI process means that the community will potentially have no say in the future of this site, since only organisations would be able to put in their applications forward. Therefore, my amendment requests that instead of Council undertaking an EOI process for the Clyde Street Tennis Court, that instead the community is given an opportunity to have a say at the outset about the future of the Clyde Street Tennis Court through a consultation that would include everyone's voices, whether it's organisations, local members of the community, or any sporting personnel that just like to play tennis. Secondly, this amendment requests that Council remove from the EOI process the Northcote Tennis Courts at 180 Victoria Road, Northcote. And as we've heard here tonight, this place is much loved by community members. And since there has been a licence in place for over 5 years with a commercial operator, priority should be given to this current commercial operator to enter into a longer lease term if they wish. In terms of a longer lease, I note there was a question about section 115 of the Local Government Act. What I wanted to emphasise that is if a longer term lease of greater than 10 years or land value greater than 100K is approved by Council, it has to be placed in the budget. That's the only requirement that Council needs to have to approve to approve a longer lease. It is possible for Council to approve longer leases as long as it's in the budget, and that's as per clause 3 and 4 of section 115 of the Local Government Act. So I wanted to thank all the submitters tonight and all the emails that have been sent about the Northcote tennis courts. They are valuable information to us to know, and I really hope that Council can support these two amendments.
Okay, does the seconder wish to speak?
I'll reserve my right for the moment, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, are there any councillors who wish to speak in opposition? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, Mayor. I am speaking in support of points 2, 3 and 4, but against point B. A bit agnostic on point A at the moment, looking forward to being convinced by my colleagues. I believe everything we've heard this evening, particularly from the officers about how this EOI process works, what opportunities the current leaseholders have to participate in the EOI and demonstrate the value that they bring to the site. I actually think that presents us with an opportunity to do really good governance here and ensure that we are making the best use of the tennis courts. And I think we should be going with the option that gives us the most rigorous process possible. So I think everything else about this EOI has been done, as I mentioned earlier. This has been a long time coming. It's kind of one of the final things in the previous council plan that we have the honour and the pleasure to be able to move and try and get done just before we introduce our own council plan. And so it is really exciting to finally see this EOI process going ahead, but I don't agree definitely with Amendment 3B and 3A. As I said, I remain to be convinced of the need for that. So I thank council officers for their work, and I really hope that there's an opportunity to hear about the enormous value, but through the proper process that is evaluated in line with the evaluation criteria that is before us to approve tonight. Thanks.
Does anyone else? Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess it's kind of a question in some ways about, could we maybe split 3A and B in terms of how we deal with them in the vote, because I do think they're quite different. So I understand what Councillor Dimitriadis is saying about local community members being disappointed about the tennis court. I've heard that feedback myself in the past, and I understand that is a beloved place by many people in the area. But I think, like, my reading of what this EOI is doing is it is providing this exact example. It's going out for community consultation, as in it's being offered for the community to have their say on what could be possible at that site. So I'm just a bit, the ask, I guess, is a bit confusing in the context of the overall paper to me. And then item B, I think, is a challenging one. We have people here tonight who are very passionate, obviously, about their business and are doing a fantastic job. And you can see those courts really active. But again, based on the expert advice that we've been provided, it sounds to me that that's the best opportunity for you to lock it in the longest term, in a way that gives you the security that you want and I'm sure deserve from the great work that you're doing. So that's why I would support that we do that. So if we can, split them, I think that will help the vote be a bit easier here. Thank you.
So how did you want it split?
I think
3A and 4, or
I
to
don't
just
know.
pull one out if it's more problematic for you?
I don't know. Maybe other people have stronger opinions. It just they just feel a bit different, but. 3A goes as one and B comes out separately, maybe? I'm not... Does anybody have any advice?
That's right. I just wondered if there's a way to split it just into two votes. But so is it 2, 3A and 4 as one, and then just 3B is the one that sits on its own? Yeah? Okay. Happy to do that. Does anyone else want to speak to this? Yep, Councillor Terry.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't really see what the issue is with this one. We've got a whole list of properties, and 3 have had significant concerns, some more significant than others, but significant concerns nonetheless, with them, and they're simply being taken out of the process. I think that's pretty much what this amendment says, and the one that we voted on before, which I won't go into any more detail on. But if there are legitimate concerns that have been raised by community members, the submitters that we've heard from this evening, then I think they should be listened to. It's a very small concession that we're making here tonight to listen to those people who've raised concerns with them. And I think what Councillor Demetriadis is simply doing is advocating on behalf of those clubs and those community members who reside and operate in her ward, and I think that is the right thing to do. So I don't see the issue with it. I think it should be carried, and I think councillors should seriously consider it. Thank you.
Okay, are we happy to move to a vote? Now, I feel like I got it round the wrong way. Is it 2, 3B and 4 we're voting on, and we're pulling 3A out separately? Which was the one that you wanted to separate out?
Mayor.
3B separate, okay. Do you want to speak?
I was going to say, I suggest we do 2 and 4 together, and then we just do 3A, 3B.
Okay,
Keep
it's
it
trying to do it
simple.
in 2, but all right, we'll do it. All right, we're doing 2 and 4. All those in favour, raise your hand. That's carried unanimously. Doing 3A, all those in favour, raise your hand. That's Councillor, forgotten your name, Councillor Rajuri, Councillor Boglis, Councillor Demetriadis, Councillor Sangster, Councillor Salkos, and Councillor Olaris. Those against, those against, Councillor O'Brien, and you abstaining, or you're against? Yeah, one abstainer, Councillor Jelly. And we have then 3B left. All in favour, please raise your hand. So that's Councillor Arturi, Councillor Boglis, Councillor Demetriadis, Councillor Salkos, Councillor Olaris. All those against, please raise your hand. Councillor Jelly, Councillor Sangster, Councillor O'Brien. Okay, thank you very much. I think that's it for that one, right? So we could get Vanessa, if she's still here, to come back into the room. And we're going to 9.1 if anyone's not.
Mayor, can I move a procedural motion that we take a brief adjournment for a comfort break and reset the brain so we...
Is everyone okay with that? Okay, 5-minute break. Seconder, all in favour? Great, thank you. 5-minute break. Okay, councillors, can you take a seat, please? We'll get started again. Okay, we're on item 9.1, which is the local law adoption. Councillors, do you have any questions of the staff in relation to this item? No questions? Do we have a mover of the motion? If we could have it up on the screen, please. Is that a question or a mover, Councillor O'Brien? Mover? Okay. And seconder, Councillor Jelly. Okay, does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, I will, Mayor, just to give it some credence for the effort that's gone into it. So I think, yeah, we can sometimes think that these things might be dry or boring, but local laws are the foundations of a safe, respectful and well-functioning community. They set the standards that protect our shared spaces, support environmental care and help us live well together. And tonight we take an important step forward with our new laws. It has been before us a few times now, and through each stage, review, consultation and refinement, we've seen the strength of our community's engagement. Darebin's response rate has been significantly higher than many other councils, and I want to thank every community member who contributed their views. That kind of civic participation is exactly what good local government depends on. The motion before us tonight not only formalises the adoption of these updated local laws, it includes a critical safeguard, a commitment to review their impact after 12 months and report back by December 2026. This clause reflects our responsibility to remain responsive, learn from real-world implementation, and to make changes where needed. But none of this will be effective without two key things: strong community goodwill and adequate council resources. We must educate and inform the community, and where compliance fails, we must be ready to be able to enforce the laws fairly and consistently, which means supporting our officers with the training and tools they need. Together with the clear rules, informed residents and a well-resourced council, we can ensure these laws serve our community in the way that they are intended. So I look forward to us moving ahead with confidence and shared purpose, and who knows, maybe we would even learn to love these rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jelly, as a seconder, would you like to speak?
Very briefly, thank you very much, Mayor. I do hope we all learn to love these rules. I just want to rise to say thank you and express deep gratitude to all of the staff who have contributed to the development of these local laws. I know it's been a really long-term project, and I thank everybody in the community who has provided their feedback, taken the time to go through and look and really deeply consider what these laws were. And I commend the motion to the chamber. Thanks.
Does anyone want to speak against this motion? Good. Can we move to a vote? We can? Okay, all those in favour, please raise your hand. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Yeah, I might just, is someone willing to do a procedural motion to extend time? Thank you, Councillor Turi. Is that 30 minutes we're going for? Seconder, Councillor Boglis. Thank you. Everyone in favour? Thank you. Okay. All right, 9.2 is the governance report. So we have a recommendation on the screen. Does anyone have any questions regarding this report? Do I have a mover of the motion? Councillor Jelly, seconder, Councillor Arturi. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, thank you. I'm just reading through all of this. I assume this was, sorry, I received some information that the amendments that I sent through earlier today had already been adopted and taken care of. So there doesn't seem to be any particular issue with all of this. I'm really happy to say that we've had a thorough review of all the documentation provided to us, and I'm really happy to support this to be adopted by my fellow councillors.
Councillor Turi is the seconder. Would you like to speak to the motion?
I'll reserve my right, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any councillors who wish to speak in opposition? Anyone who would like to say anything? No? Okay. If there's no further debate, can we move to a vote? All those in favour, raise your hand. And that one is carried unanimously. 9.4 is 2 Wingrove Street Master Plan. This is a community engagement. Councillor Demetriadis, you want to move the motion?
Yes, with an amendment.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Do we have any questions before we continue on? No. Do we have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Salkos? Were you looking like you were going to do a question? Okay, all right. Okay, then would the mover like to speak?
Yes, firstly, I'd like to thank the officers for presenting this report to Council after Council passed the resolution on the 3rd of March to include broader community consultation as part of the master planning process for 2 Wingrove Street, Alphington. Over the past few years, the future of this site has had significant public interest. This is due to a number of reasons that are outlined in the report, beginning with the transition of site management from the former tenant back to council, and this process resulted in community mistrust in council, especially with the existing occupants, as well as a sense of poor communication from council. Furthermore, the various constraints at this site, such as contamination from the closed landfill and restrictive zoning, are concerns for many community members, and hence why this site has gained quite a lot of public interest. This is why it's so important that community is involved and actively participates in the future of this site, and that's to build trust and reassure them that council does care and is listening to community's concerns. We've heard from many community members over the years who want to be actively involved in this process of determining the future of the site, which is why this amendment tonight firstly increases the mail distributions to local residents, thanks to Councillor Tsalkos who actually put it in Google Maps and informed us that the current distribution radius of 200 metres only informed about 50 households. So it was suggested that we increase this radius to 500 metres to include more residents. Furthermore, we have also heard more recently from community members that they want to be part of a community reference group, and that this will also participate in discussions about the future of this site. So therefore, while I do support the officer's recommendations to commence community consultation to seek input on the site vision and future development, I also raise this small amendment to establish a community reference group that will be involved in all stages of the master planning process. I believe it's so important for the community to have a say before council goes out to external stakeholders. I can't emphasise that enough. That the future of this site is very important to community. In fact, allowing community to have a say first would ensure that when council does speak to any external stakeholders, that the community's feedback from the consultation is front and centre in those discussions. So I hope all councillors will support this amendment. Thanks.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak?
I'll reserve my right, Mayor.
Okay. Does anyone wish to speak against the amendment? Councillor Sangster.
I don't want to speak against the amendment. I want to speak against the officer recommendation. So, can I do that now? Yep. We didn't get an opportunity to do that, so...
No, so we can only, you have to talk to this, but are there parts of this that this includes the officer recommendation?
Yeah. Sorry, through you, Mayor. Was there an opportunity to speak against the officer recommendation?
So if I may, Mayor, so what occurs if the recommendation doesn't get put as a motion, a councillor moves, for example, this one here, the officer recommendation is gone. Yeah. So all it is this. So whilst it's termed an amendment, Councillor Demetriadis actually got up before anyone moved the original, so it's the motion, which is what occurred in the last two examples as well, the last two papers. Yep.
Don't want to speak then?
I'm not allowed to speak.
We can speak about this one.
Yes, well, I mean, I'm speaking specifically against the way that this community engagement plan is being unfolded. And while I remain deeply committed to genuine and meaningful consultation, this proposal, which was argued for in the chamber, and now this amendment asks council to allocate funds towards external consultants, venue hire, catering and translation services for an engagement process that lacks the necessary foundational information. So I absolutely believe we should have community engagement, but I think we need to understand the site's potential and its associated risks. And without having the information that we need, we risk having to revisit these same community groups in the future, quite close in the future probably, to conduct further consultations once those facts are known. So the supporting documentation for this motion that was previously up explicitly warned us that proceeding prematurely could expose council to significant reputational risk and contribute to community engagement fatigue. In essence, this approach puts the cart before the horse. For all these reasons, I cannot in good conscience support this amendment or the previous council officer recommendation.
Okay. Is anyone else would like to speak? Councillor Jelly.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. I support point 1 of this motion, but the rest I do not support. And so I'm speaking against this in line with my opposition to the proposal that was adopted at the 3rd of March meeting, just to keep things consistent. I still believe that this is premature, that we should wait the outcomes of the feasibility study before proceeding to any consultation with the community. But I don't want to re-prosecute the arguments that have already been made before and been made by my colleague, Councillor Sangster. I just wanted to explain why I oppose this and to confirm this is not a criticism of the work of the staff who are just enacting a council resolution.
Does anyone else want to speak for the motion? Councillor Turi.
Thanks, Mayor. I think it is really important that we treat this particular site with the care that it deserves. Having a community reference group and establishing it in the manner that's been put, I think is prudent, and having it run in tandem with other processes in relation to site, I think can work particularly well. There have been many discussions about this particular site over previous meetings, previous years in fact, and at this meeting as well. I think the motion is a good one, and I think the community reference group, whoever is ends up being on that, and we'll have a report in November as I read it. In relation to that group and the establishment of that group, I think is ready to go, and they are a very passionate bunch of people who live around that particular site. So I wish them well in their deliberations, but I think it's a prudent thing to do. Thanks, Mayor.
Anyone else wish to speak against? Yep. Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm probably still on the fence right now as to whether I'm for or against ultimately, but I feel like I need to express concerns around the process as a whole that we've been through around this particular item. As Councillor Jelly referred to, we've voted against, 3 of us voted against this item when it was before us in March because of the timing and the nature of the complexity of the technical work that was still underway, that is still underway. And so absolutely agree that the community is central to this going forward, and absolutely understand that that community is passionate and wants to be involved. But Miranda made a point earlier on about wanting a clear commitment to process and transparency. And I think what we have around Wingrove Street right now is the opposite of that for all of the reasons that we've discussed tonight and in previous versions of meetings and conversations. We're in a weird place where things are coming back to the chamber that are quite operational in nature. I just implore everybody to think we're here to act strategically for the community. We need to elevate our thinking and we need to allow the officers to do their work, but engage the community, yes, at the right time in the right place. And once we know what's possible at that site, once we know what's technically feasible at that site, that conversation becomes meaningful. Until then, we could be asking for rainbow unicorns and we may not be able to deliver them. And then we're building community expectation and disappointing everybody again. So I don't want to disappoint that community. I want them to know what's ahead of us. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Can we move to the vote now? You want? Yep, you can have a right of reply.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just be really quick about some of the concerns that have been raised. And I'm personally, I think it's quite disrespectful to community members for anyone to state that community consultation should not go ahead because people will not be able to comprehend the extent of the risks associated with this particular land. Most people in our community are well aware of the environmental and ground stability risks of the site, as well as Council's financial constraints of the planning and the planning controls of this land. And while Council is obligated to investigate these matters further, the community should not be prevented from having a say because of this. So I believe it is really important to go out to community and include broader community consultation at all stages of the master planning process. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we're going to move to the vote, if that's okay with everyone. All those in favour, please raise your hand. The motion's gone, but I think we've seen it. Councillor Arturi, Councillor Boglis, Councillor Demetriadis, Councillor Salkos, Councillor O'Laris. Those against? Councillor Jelly, Councillor O'Brien and Councillor Sangster. Okay, thank you. So that one's carried. 9.6. So this is the Q3 performance report. Any questions first up? And no, Councillor Jelly, I'm presuming you want to...
I just want to move an amended officer's recommendation. Thanks.
Cool. Do we have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Sangster? Okay.
Sorry, Mayor, when was this circulated?
This was circulated today, I've seen it. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Question, yes, before we go into any further. Yep.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is in relation to the definition of the word live in the red writing. What does that mean?
I can help if... Would you like me to help?
Go
yes,
ahead.
thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
That's why I'm here. So our interpretation, and I'm sure the mover will correct me if I'm wrong, but our interpretation was those projects that are either funded, in a plan, scoped, etc., not just the full list of everything that came out. Is that broadly it? Yep.
Okay. So, does the mover want to speak to this?
Yes, I'll keep it as brief as I can. Thank you very much, Mayor. And thank you for your question, Councillor Arturi, around that. That's a bit of an oversight that I didn't kind of explain where we were going there. But simply, I note there's a lot of extensive detail in the Q3 performance report. It's a great read. Recommend it to everybody who's got a spare couple of hours. But in this, I am requesting that we ensure that the community is updated on the status of any of the approved, endorsed and sort of progress projects from your street, you'll say both Group A and Group B, for example, but not limiting to, possibly publishing that information on the You'll Say Darebin website. Thank you.
Seconder, like to speak?
Yes, through you, Mayor. I think I'd just like to speak in favour of this because one of the things that we're hearing continuously from our councillors and also from our community is that they want transparency, they want to know what's happening and they want to know where we're up to with the commitments that we've made. And so I think by including Councillor Jelly's amendment, we are ensuring that our community is participating as fully as they can and understanding the complexities that council is dealing with as we try to move forward with these important projects.
Okay. Anyone want to speak against? Nope. Anyone else want to speak? Happy to go to a vote? Okay. All those in favour, raise your hand. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. 9.7, 25 Edward Street Reservoir. This is a proposed lease to Hands On Health. So, Vanessa?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to leave because I have a conflict with this item.
Okay. Oh, so do lots of people. Looks of it. No, or just moving seats? Okay. Thanks, Vanessa. Okay. So do we have any questions? Anyone got any questions in relation to this one? Oh, do we have a mover? Oh, is this a no? No. Sorry, mover. Go Councillor Bogglers. Oh, and seconder? Councillor O'Brien. Okay. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation. I rise to speak in strong support of granting the lease to Hands On Health Australia for the site in Reservoir. This is a modest but strategic decision that unlocks real value for our community, particularly for those who are most vulnerable, isolated or experiencing disadvantage. Hands On Health have a clear track record of supporting marginalised communities with holistic, low-cost health and wellbeing services. Their proposal directly aligns with our council's plan and the community vision, particularly around equity, wellbeing and access. We know council's capacity to fund new facilities is limited, but Hands On Health Australia is prepared to raise their own funds, starting with compliance works at their own cost. This lease doesn't just activate currently unused assets, it enables services that otherwise wouldn't exist in this part of Reservoir, and the lease conditions are sensible. This is not just about bricks and mortar, it's about health equity. It's about supporting those who often fall through the cracks, young people, CALD communities, First Nations people, women and people living with chronic illness and of course mental health barriers. Reservoir, and especially in the West Ward in particular, show clear indicators of need. It has higher than average rates of psychological distress and higher rates of preventable hospitalisations compared to other parts of Darebin. Many residents also report difficulties accessing affordable local health services, and this aligns with our council plan and the Darebin Health and Wellbeing Strategy, which I have called for to reduce health inequalities, especially in areas with persistent disadvantage, by supporting place-based community-led solutions. So this decision also sets an example for how we think more creatively about council-owned buildings across the municipality. There is a real potential to co-locate services and support grassroots organisations in underutilised spaces, especially in areas like this. Access here is inclusive, localised service, but it is limited. So we should be actively identifying and enabling these opportunities in the future, not just in Reservoir, but across Darebin, to ensure equity is embedded in the way we deliver community benefit. Approving this lease is just the right thing to do, and it costs council less than nothing to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Brien, did you want to speak as a seconder?
I'll reserve my right, but hopefully don't need to.
Okay, does anyone want to speak against this motion? Does anyone else wish to speak? You don't want to use your... Yep, okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give others the opportunity if they had something to say. So, yes, to rising to support the motion. What we see here is something that speaks directly to our values as a council, putting community at the heart of everything that we do. Through this lease agreement with Hands on Health Australia, we have the opportunity to transform a long vacant site on Edward Street and Reservoir into something deeply valuable, a thriving community wellbeing hub. This initiative reflects the direction set by the Chamber when we recently voted to consult the community about this particular proposal. And I'm pleased to report that consultation confirmed what many of us hoped: strong support, with the vast majority of submissions welcoming the vision for this site. The concerns raised by two people were taken seriously and thoughtfully addressed by our officers in the report, and I thank them for that. It's clear that the proposed peppercorn rent is not just appropriate, it's necessary to enable the powerful community benefits that this charity can deliver. And as for parking and safety, reactivating this space is expected to enhance the safety, and in the unlikely scenario that there are negative parking impacts, they can be closely monitored and addressed as needed. If all goes to plan, phase 1 of the works will begin soon, and we could see this hub brought to life as early as January next year, offering vital health and wellbeing services and building towards an even broader community offering through future upgrades. This is a great example of Council using its resources wisely, unlocking the potential of unused spaces for real, meaningful community impact. And I look forward to seeing this come to life and to many more initiatives like it in the months and years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further debate, we might go to the vote. So all those in favour, raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, Gemina Alphington Community Battery is the next item. Any questions? No. Councillor Demetriadis would like to put forward the motion.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just have a small amendment to this one. It looks bigger than...
The font's just big.
Okay, so you're wanting to put that one forward. Okay, is there anyone who's willing to second this motion? Councillor Jelly. Does anyone have any questions before we move into the debate? No. Councillor Demetriadis, would you like to speak to this motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So firstly, I'd like to thank the officers for bringing this report to Council and working constructively with Gemina to get to where we are today, and that's to enter into a lease with Gemina for the installation and operation of a community battery at the southeastern corner of Pitcher Park in Alphington. Secondly, I wanted to thank Gemina for working with Parkside Sports Club and the community reference group, as well as conducting community consultation with all the nearby residents. I have to me it's a quite small amendment tonight, ensures that Parkside Sport Club is continuing to be engaged about the exact location of the battery at the southeastern end of Pitcher Park, and that the community reference group is consulted about the sound levels of the battery and that it's appropriate for the quiet residential area. I believe this is a wonderful project that has that was made possible by the federal Labor government, and that will benefit many community members as well as assist in reducing our carbon footprint. So I can't wait to see it being brought to life.
Thank you. Does the seconder wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just rising to say this is a very exciting project. It's wonderful that we're able to house this community battery in Darebin. And I think there's the amendment here reflects just some of the feedback and the outcome of the thinking and our deep commitment in Darebin Council to community engagement and following up with and having those sort of not circular as in going round and round and round in circles, but closing the loop on those conversations with our community around those things. Obviously, with any new technology comes with, questions around what the impacts might be to local amenity. And I think there's the amendments here really address what those might be in terms of providing a mechanism for the reporting back to the community group and on the note of reporting, again, I say I would be very excited to read any reports about this project in future in terms of the uptake, the impact on reducing carbon emissions in Darebin for the benefit of Darebin and all of its people and the planet and everybody and everything that lives here and all around the world. Thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone who wishes to speak against the motion? Anyone else who wishes to speak? Councillor Turi.
Thank you, Mayor. After a very long process, what feels like a very long process, we're finally at the point where we can make a decision on this and enter into a lease with Gemina for the installation of this community battery in Elphington. I too want to thank the federal government for the $500,000 to install and operate the battery. Like the councillors who spoke before me, it's a really important part of what we can do alongside the community to take action on climate change locally. And council should be proud of its role in this project. And of course, in addition to the battery itself, the grant, I believe, also enhances the amenity of the area, including planting of additional trees and so forth. And like the councillors who spoke before me, I too want to thank Gemina for working closely with the local sports club and the community reference group throughout this process. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to speak? Can we move to the vote? Move to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, the next item is 9.10, Darebin Economic Framework. So, do councillors have any questions of the officers regarding this item? No? Yes? Is that a question or no? Is there anyone like to put forward the motion? Councillor O'Brien. Is there a seconder? Councillor Salkos. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, I will, Mayor, thank you. I'll get better at my timing of my hand going up. I seem to be out of step tonight. All right, so I just, want to rise to say I'm proud to support this economic development framework. It's an important step in meeting Council's obligations under the Local Government Act to ensure economic sustainability. This framework builds upon Darebin's incredible strengths, our iconic main streets, vibrant arts and media sector, world-class education, dynamic manufacturing, and a workforce powered by 98% small businesses. It gives us a clear direction to help these businesses thrive even in the face of broader economic challenges. The data uncovered is fascinating, and I do recommend the reading to people locally. But a couple of things to say. Apparently we have close to 14,000 locally registered businesses, 13,988 in fact. And through that we have over 61,000, almost 62,000 local jobs, which is fantastic. I'm especially pleased by how climate action is embedded throughout the strategy. Local businesses are major contributors to emissions, but also key drivers of change. Many are already showing leadership, and through this framework, we're actively encouraging more socially and environmentally responsible enterprises to call Darebin home. These are the businesses that manage risk, reduce costs, and stay resilient. That helps our economy and our community to stay strong. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to everyone who contributed to this work, our officers, local businesses, and community stakeholders. You should be proud of what we've achieved together here. I look forward to seeing this exciting vision come to life and to Darebin continuing to lead with a bold, inclusive, and sustainable local economy. And if anybody reads anything from this document, I do recommend the statistics and the vision itself are actually genuinely inspiring. Thank you.
Okay, does the seconder wish to speak?
Thanks, Mayor. I'll just echo the words of Councillor O'Brien and thank our Economic Development and Activation team for their hard work in putting this together. Your work is phenomenal in this report. And given Darebin's economic and business landscape currently facing several challenges such as cost of living crisis, increase in the cost of doing business, declining consumer confidence, and key Darebin exporting sectors including manufacturing, education and health are subject to changing global conditions. This framework will guide future priorities, projects and programs and partnerships of Council to strengthen Darebin's economy while remaining agile. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone wanting to speak in opposition to this motion? Anyone else wanting to speak? Shall we go to a vote? All those in favour, raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay. 9.11, Keon Park Level Crossing Removal Project. Are there any questions about this item from anyone? No. Do I have a mover of this motion? Councillor Jelly. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Arturi. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I am rising to speak about the amazing, incredible opportunity we have here. Not only does this signify, so I'm moving the officer's recommendation, and this project signifies that we have sort of acquired an extra train station in Darebin. Woohoo! As a transport nerd, I'm very excited that we have one more train station because not many municipalities in the inner north get to boast about that. Not only can we boast about that, but we can boast that we're actually getting some money off the LXRA. But that's actually for the long-term plan to support the land underneath that new train station. So there's been an elevated level crossing removal, beautiful sky rail up there, not without its issues from the local apartment residents living right next to what they didn't think would be a train station going past their balcony. But anyway, notwithstanding that, what we have seen in Darebin is an incredible activation of the space underneath these sky rail lines. And not that this is all about me, but I have to say that I frequently cycle along the path along, through Preston under the railway line here, and I posted one day of my beautiful ride up to Council Chambers on a stinking hot day, and just the change as you move into the shade under that railway line was really noticeable. And so I just posted a video that was on Instagram. I was like, oh, it's just so wonderful to have, shaded bike paths. And it's the most popular thing I've ever posted on Instagram, which says something about what I'm posting on Instagram and how much of a transport nerd I am. So I commend it to you. It's really exciting that we are having the opportunity to have some funding to maintain this beautiful new asset, and it is an asset. It will be an asset to our community, particularly up in the north, and I'm sure Councillor Arturi will tell us how much that is valued in Reservoir. Thank you.
Councillor Arturi.
Oh, Councillor Jelly just took the words right out of my mouth. I too think this is a great opportunity that we have in front of us. It obviously follows the removal of quite a problematic level crossing. I remember working as a staffer many years ago that we used to get constituents ringing up and saying, can you remove that bloody level crossing? And finally it was done. And now, as a member of council, we have this opportunity to really, as Councillor Jelly said, activate this area even more so for the benefit of local residents, and we've seen examples of that right along the rail easement, and of course a bonus from the LXRA. It's not every day we get a lump sum contribution to council to help us maintain the area that we are acquiring, so I think that's a great opportunity as well, and we should take advantage of that, and I too commend the motion to the chamber.
Okay. Anyone want to speak against the motion? No. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you. I just want to quickly pick up on something that Councillor Jelly mentioned, given the past that would have existed in that Skyrail coming to life. Obviously, that is not without its impact on people. Councillor Jelly mentioned the apartments that are right alongside that railway track. and I'm sure their life has changed a bit. And so we need to acknowledge that as part of the processes that we go through in council and that state government will go through in some of these projects. We do need to listen to the community, but sometimes the solutions that are before us for various reasons cannot satisfy everybody. All we can try to do is mitigate as best as possible the impacts that we might be having. And I think that's just a really important thing for us to keep in mind as we are going into a phase where we know we're going to face a Thornbury and a Preston activity centre here locally and the impacts that that will have on the community. And so us as council and state government working really closely together to identify, understand those impacts and mitigate them wherever we can and hopefully get good outcomes. Just think it's a good thing for us to bear in mind going forward. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak? We go to a vote. All those in favour, raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Yep. So we probably just need another extension for half an hour. Councillor Jelly, Councillor Salkos, all in favour. Thank you. 9:11. Oh. Notice of motion. So there's no items to be tabled tonight, so that's item 10. Item 11 is notice of motion. So we've got Your Street, Your Say, Group A. So Councillor Boglis, this is your notice of motion. So you want to speak? So first I need to get a seconder. Yes. So do we have a seconder yet? Councillor Zalkos, would you like to speak to this? Oh, yeah, sorry. You can ask a question before
Thank you,
we
Mayor.
speak.
Given the motion alludes specifically to Group A, will carriage of the motion this evening impact the delivery of projects in Group B and C as they are currently planned either in the budget or otherwise?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Thank you for the question, Councillor Arturi. It remains open to Council to set its final suite of projects through the final budget. So that would be for Council. And you will be aware that we are still doing the strategic group work for Your Street, Your Say, Group C. And we've had a look at our new delivery dates, and we are anticipating working towards bringing the final recommendations to Council in February next year, which would support Council in their 2006 and 7 budget deliberations.
Any other questions? Okay. So we have a mover. We got a seconder? Seconder. Okay. Will the mover like to speak?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. I rise today to move this notice of motion concerning Your Streets, Your Say Group A projects, which include key streets and intersections in Reservoir West, Preston West and Thornbury West. This initiative was designed to give our community a real voice in shaping local street improvements, prioritising safety, accessibility and liveability. We received over 500 submissions, reflecting how deeply residents care about their neighbourhoods. And this has been a long time coming. Nearly 3 years after the adoption, progress on these projects have come to a halt. Of the many community prioritised improvements, only a few have been completed to date of the full 21. Residents have rightly voiced frustration and concern with me. They want to see action, not only plans on paper. Many of these projects are about the safety of children walking or biking to school, improving pathways for everyday commutes, and ensuring our streets are welcoming and accessible for everyone, with safety being our primary focus. As a council, a newly formed council, we are committed to seeking grant funding to accelerate these works, but it's clear more decisive action and advocacy is needed. That's why this motion requests a comprehensive report to come to the June council meeting. We need clarity on the status of every Group A project, what's done, what's underway, and what is yet to start, with clear explanations for delays and how these will be funded across the budget term. As a result of this learning, Council and councillors are now actively working to understand how we can make this process more equitable moving forward. We are committed to learning from Group A, including where delays happened, barriers to progress, and how we better prioritise projects that respond to the needs of our most vulnerable communities across the whole of Darebin. This ongoing reflection will help ensure future rounds of Your Street, Your Say deliver timely, fair and transparent outcomes for all Darebin residents. I ask my fellow councillors to support this motion to ensure we deliver on these important community-driven improvements in a timely and transparent way. Thank you.
The seconder would like to speak.
I'll reserve my right.
Anyone like to speak against the motion? I'd like to speak in favour.
Mayor, I'd like to move an amendment to this motion. I did circulate various versions of this amendment over the last 24 hours or so, and where we've landed is here. So we are striking through that as indicated in red with strike-throughs. And adding to the list of projects, a couple of projects in the Southwest Ward that were not on the original list.
Are they the ones marked in grey?
Yes, that's correct. They're the ones marked in grey. Now there's one project on the list. My understanding that Councillor Boggles has got to move a slightly different motion, but the motion she's moved has actually included a project that's already been completed. But I think so. My intention here is just to introduce the 4 new projects under point 1 with some amendments there, and to introduce a new point down the end there. The numbering might have gone quite skewy here, but I'll give councillors some. I'm happy to read it out if anybody has any questions about how this works.
Is that a question,
Yeah, I just wanted to raise a point of order in regards to point 4, whether it's contrary to the motion, because it's actually irrelevant to Your Street, Your Say. It's 2 new projects that we're talking about, so I'm not sure we should be introducing that point 4 in this particular nom.
I'll just get some advice.
So just on the face of it, councillors, the question would be whether the Mayor goes back to the original mover and seconder to see if there's an acceptance of that. If it's not accepted, then it would be treated as an alternative, and then that would only get to be discussed and debated in the event that the original one from Councillor Boggles didn't get up. Is that okay? I've got people frowning. Sorry.
Because of number 4?
So because of number 4, the Mayor will make a call, well, generally would ask the original mover and seconder if they accept that. If it's not accepted, it's an alternative to because it's a notice of motion, it's an alternative, it will only get to be voted on or debated and voted on in the event that the notice of motion that Councillor Boggles has on the previous page doesn't get support.
Sorry, can I just ask, Mayor? I think if it's an alternate motion, it doesn't even need to be considered by the mover and the seconder. It's just an alternate that can't be raised at this stage. So it just needs to wait, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Through you, Mayor, it only becomes an alternative. Normally it would be an alternative motion if the substantive motion was lost, but as this is a nom, if the nom is lost, then that's the end of the nom. There's no alternative motion to a nom because that effectively becomes a new nom and hasn't been considered under the normal nom process.
So I'm going to ask Connie if she's happy to accept that. the mover and the seconder. Can I ask Connie this question first?
Sorry, I don't think she needs to accept it because it's an alternate.
She can accept it though.
But it's completely different.
She can accept it.
Not completely different, it's an addition.
Yeah, or accept part of it.
Sorry?
You can accept part of the changes as well, if you want.
Yeah. Are we able to separate it and vote? Are we able to do that? No. I'm happy to accept it.
The whole lot? Yeah. Okay.
Mayor, I have a question. If we include point 4, will the total amount of this NOM exceed $5,000? Because we're asking for 2 reports now.
It's a very good question. Sorry.
I did ask this question, and my understanding is that there is no cost. It's an internal report.
Vanessa?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. No, it would be officer time preparing the report. And because it's not required until December, I anticipate that we would be able to manage that in our work for the year.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Sorry.
Sure. Looks like we're on questions at the moment. So.
My follow-up question is, if we accept point 4, would any of the other projects in Group C in particular be affected and pushed out any further?
Thanks for your question, Councillor. No, I don't think so, providing nothing new and unexpected throughout the year comes up. But at this point, no, I wouldn't expect it would impact on our finalising Group C for a council decision in February next year.
Councillor Dimitriadis, did you want to ask a question?
Yes, sorry, Mayor, because this was just come up recently, this particular point 4. Given that it would take extra time from officers to prepare this additional report, would any other projects be deferred, given that this particular team is under quite a lot of workload and they are...
I think that's just
But that was
exactly
specifically
what Baz
about Group
asked.
C, whereas
okay.
would any other projects be put to the side, given already the delays in delivering some of these projects?
Thanks for your question, Councillor Dimitriadis, and through you, Mayor. I really appreciate your concern for the team. Yes, they are a very busy team. Councillor Boglis shared earlier that Council is starting to do the work to consider how it may approach transport management for the term, and I would anticipate councillors that in doing the work to prepare a report for 4 would be part of that process of us providing you with support so you can consider those options. So I would anticipate that would be integrated with our work with you to support you to do that.
Did you support this audition? We've got Connie has.
Yep.
Sure. Okay. Does anyone... so does the mover wish to speak? Councillor Jelly, would you like to speak?
I would love to. Thank you so much to my colleagues, Councillor Boglis and Councillor Salkos, for accepting this this amendment. The effect of this amendment is essentially to, to ensure that we have, sorry, could we scroll up a bit, please? Thank you so much. That this report around Your Street, Your Say Group A includes, is a more fulsome report that includes projects outside of West Ward. So there are 4 projects that live in South West Ward. That 3 of them are actually more advocacy positions, but it would be good to understand what we can do in terms of advocating strongly for those projects. They are very keenly and deeply felt by members of our community. It has been a long time coming. People gave feedback on these back in 2022. I look for to Councillor Boglis for confirmation of when that was, but I'm pretty sure I provided some feedback on this a long time ago. And essentially what I'm trying to do here is draw a line in the sand. So it's a bit of a compromise position where we agree, okay, let's get a report on these Group A projects. Let's find out how we can advance their completion, what advocacy can be done, what needs to be done and considered in terms of moving these forward. And then in point 4, we're actually looking to step back into sort of a bit of a council reset for all of us to step back into our role as strategic, to provide strategic direction to the council, and actually seeking, if we could scroll down a bit further, please, seeking some information about what are the steps that we can take to ensure that we are doing our job as strategic managers to ensure that the goals and actions that are outlined in various transport strategies are met through all the programs that we do. So we should be keeping our eye at the higher level, lifting our gaze beyond the horizon, and looking at how we implement goals and actions from previously endorsed transport strategies. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak on this item? Councillor Arturi.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to support this motion, but I think it's important to mention how this report should ultimately be used when it comes back to Council. Council have said in their contribution that we should take a holistic approach. So despite the limited scope of the motion that's now been expanded by virtue of these accepted amendments, it should be used ultimately to inform the broader decision-making of Council, not just in a particular or a couple of patches across the city, but inform our decision-making across all transport projects and infrastructure and the like. And I agree that the request for a report that's contained in the motion requests information that we as councillors and the community, as well as Councillor Boglis and Councillor Jelly have alluded to, would be very much interested in. So I think it's a fair question to ask in terms of the content of the report. But given we do have, given that we're talking about Your Street, Your Say, given that we do have 2 other groups that cover the rest of the city, that the report is used in a prudent way to inform decision-making across the broader city, not just in relation to these specific projects, but as we look at it more broadly in our workshops and so on and so forth. So with that in mind, I'm happy to support the motion. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Arturi. Councillor O'Brien.
Thank you. I'll just reiterate a bit of what Councillor Arturi has said. We've had this conversation a number of times in the chamber, in a public setting, in our briefings as well. We had a workshop last week where officers brought us up to speed with the nature of this programme known as Your Street, Your Say. But what sits behind it is a much more complex thing in terms of how we deliver for safety, how we deliver for transport improvements that work towards people engaging in active forms of transport, help us reduce our carbon emissions as a council area. And this has become so fraught in this place. It's just really hard to, like, having witnessed it from the outside and now being in it, it's a really messy situation. And I just really hope we can move forward. As Councillor Arturi has said, we've all said it in various ways. So let's be true to that going forward, because we've seen amendments come up where we've tried to do that. We've tried to look holistically and it hasn't been supported. So it feels a bit confusing at times when you're kind of hearing one thing and then people are voting the other way. So can we just, yes, draw a line in the sand, look at the whole of the municipality, look at the priorities, look at the safety things, look at the concerns, and look at the directions that we've set for ourselves in our transport strategies, in our climate emergency plan, and deliver for the community. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? Okay, so we'll go to a vote. All those in favour of this motion, raise your hand. Okay, that's passed unanimously. That's pretty much it. We have no urgent business. We have no confidential reports. So as there is no other business items for this evening, I'd like to declare the council meeting closed at 9:43 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the viewers and